Hello, hello. Excuse me. Declared my throat before I went live, but you never remember to do the small things before you get on camera. So, welcome back, one and all, to another episode or spine number of Chasing Labels. I am your host, Andrew Cabral, and for those of you joining me here for the first time, welcome. And also, if you're not familiar with what we do here on Chasing Labels, it's the show in which we look back at the last 2 weeks or so and highlight some of the announcements in the boutique world of movie releases, essentially, or Blu-rays, 4Ks, big box sets, individual releases, USA releases, Region A stuff, Region B stuff overseas, and it's not everything. It's usually just things that I'm interested in adding to my collection at some point, or it's things that I just find interesting in general. So, without further ado, let's get into what I typically do here in a little bit of the intro part of the show. Is a little bit of a movie collection update. As you can see, I've got movies all around me. As you can see, shelving behind me over, I can never figure out the camera. It's over there and over here. So I got movies. I even have movies off to the side you can't see. I've got movies in front of me you can't see. I have movies stacked up next to me you can't see, on the couch, on the table, everywhere. It's movies all the time in my life. So let's get into a couple of the recent pickups, as I like to say. Where do I want to start? Let's start here. Little Warner Archive animated stuff. So I've been trying to buy literally every single piece of uh home media that I can find for the Scooby-Doo franchise. And I'm typically concentrating on the Blu-ray part of it all because there's been a lot of Scooby-Doo Blu-ray related stuff that's come out over the years, and especially recently through Warner Archive. So Warner Archive's put out a couple of Blu-rays, and two that I picked up is Scooby-Doo and the Reluctant Werewolf, and also Scooby double feature of Scooby-Doo on Zombie Island and Scooby-Doo Return to Zombie Island. I'm trying to put together a vast array of Scooby-Doo related stuff because my goal is to do a Scooby-Doo marathon, Scooby-Doo-a-thon, starting from the original 1969 series, going all the way through the 70s, the 80s, the 90s, the 2000s, the 2010s. Watch the live action stuff, watch the TV movies, watch the series and all that stuff. The problem is not all of it's collected on home media, and the ones that are collected, it's kind of all over the place. Even with the original complete series, Scooby-Doo, Where Are You Set? It's got the first two original series plus the last series of a 1976 The Scooby-Doo Show. So even that first set, starting it off, is a little mixed and jumbled up. So I'm slowly putting together that array of stuff. To be honest, I've been trying to collect all of the Hanna-Barbera stuff for many, many years. Slowly making my way doing that, but these are just two more additions to the collection through Warner Archive. So I got those things, and then I also picked up the John Candy movie Canadian Bacon. Now, this is interesting because it's directed by the documentarian, the political activist Michael Moore. And Michael Moore did not do a lot of, fictional, theatrical features and stuff like that. Like I said, mostly a documentarian, mostly a political activist. But he directed this movie called Canadian Bacon that came out in 1995. Now, for those of you who may know this is actually, I believe, the last credited role for John Candy. This came out after he passed away. He passed away in 1994. So I believe if you go on his IMDb, this is the last movie that he's credited as being in. So I wanted to pick this up because I've been putting together a bunch of John Candy stuff over the last little while. There's a documentary that I think showed at TIFF. I think it showed at Toronto International Film Festival. And I think it's going to be getting some type of theatrical release soon, just about John Candy's life and career. So I wanted to get more John Candy in my collection. I believe last time on the last episode of Chasing Labels, which would be spine number 173, I showed Summer Rental, which I picked up recently as well. If not, I guess you're seeing it for the first time, but I'm pretty sure I showed this off last time. on episode 173. So on spy number 174, you get a little kind of a early John Candy, late John Candy double feature here of Summer Rental and Canadian Bacon. So I picked up those two. Speaking of Kino, because that was a Kino release, I've got a big old Kino haul here. So recently, I spent a Friday night at my local Barnes and Noble, and I picked up 7 Kino releases. This I showed off in a short video that's here on the channel. If you haven't seen that already, this is new to you. If you have seen that already, this is not new to you. But I figured I would show it off here. Why not? So I spent a Friday night at Barnes and Noble because they are having currently a 50% off Kino Lorber sale. They basically went right from their 50% off Arrow sale directly into their 50% off Kino sale, and then I'm pretty sure they're going to end up going into their um their Criterion sale in November. So stay tuned for that. But the 7 titles that I picked up are Sabrina, which is the Billy Wilder film. I already have this on Blu-ray, but I had to upgrade it. I love Audrey Hepburn. I love her in this movie. This movie also stars Humphrey Bogart and William Holden. It's one of my all-time favorites. So I picked up Sabrina, and then something straight out of my childhood, and maybe many of yours' childhood, or just life in general. Wayne's World 2 on 4K UHD. I still have to get Wayne's World in 4K, but I was there and they had Wayne's World 2. I figured, why not? I watched this so many times as a young kid. This came out in 1993. I was 6 years old when this came out. So I saw this when I was 6 years old. And yeah, it's considered the lesser of the 2 Wayne's World movies, but it's a pure nostalgia for me. Next up is a movie I actually haven't seen yet, and that is The Two Jakes. The Two Jakes, we've talked about it here on Chasing Labels a couple of times when this was announced. This is the sequel to Chinatown. This is also one of 3 movies directed by Jack Nicholson, the other one being Drive, he said, and the second one being Going South, which I happen to have both of those. And now I have this. So I've got the complete Jack Nicholson feature film directorial filmography. And I've actually never seen it. So I'll be watching this for the first time. I think I'm going to end up doing a double feature of Chinatown and then this eventually. Next up here is Sneakers. Timely buy for me. I was actually planning on getting this anyway, but obviously in recent news, the great Robert Redford passed away. So, it's that time where you start going and rewatching all of his stuff and whatnot. So I've never owned this in the collection at all. So I'm glad I finally got it. And this stars a star-studded cast. Robert Redford, Dan Aykroyd, Ben Kingsley, Mary McDonnell, River Phoenix, Sidney Poitier, David Strathairn in the movie Sneakers from 1992. Let's see. No, next up here is a Western, Shane. This is a really great Western. This is produced and directed by George Stevens. And this is the movie starring Alan Ladd, and I believe Van Heflin is in this film as well as Jack Palance. Either way, this is a movie that I've always really, really liked. It's one of kind of a subversive Western. That's what I've always really, really liked about it. Nominated for 6 Academy Awards. It's a really great movie. I've always really liked it. Jean Arthur's in the film as well. I've always been a big Jean Arthur fan. So check out Shane if you haven't already. Highly recommended. Next is another one from my childhood, Coneheads. Dan Aykroyd, Jane Curtin, Coneheads. I believe this was based off of the SNL skit. And this is a movie that, once again, came out in 1993. So I saw this when I was 6 years old. Seeing this when I was 6 years old was a heck of a lot of fun. It's a weird movie. It's still weird to this day. Kind of a generational cult classic, I would say. People from my generation who grew up with it definitely know and love it. I've never owned it. I've never had it on VHS, DVD, or Blu-ray, but now I own it in 4K of all formats. Coneheads. Next up here is just a Blu-ray, and this is for the movie Save the Tiger. Now, for those of you who are longtime listeners or longtime followers of Chasing Labels, I've talked about this movie before a couple of times. It got an imprint release many years ago, which we covered here on Chasing Labels. Of course, it got announced that Kino was putting out their own release of this. The difference is between those two releases, the imprint release has more features than this and does not have the 4K scan that this one has. So this edition looks better than the imprint edition, but does not have the same features as the imprint edition. But it does have a commentary on here. Actually, it has two commentaries. It's got an audio commentary by director John G. Alvidson and writer-producer Steve Shagan, and also has an audio commentary by film historian and author Dwayne Epstein. I don't think either of those are on the imprint release, but the imprint has other stuff that this one does not have. But I was there at the time, and the imprint release, I think, is out of print of this movie, so I decided just to get it because the movie is that good. This is a great film. Jack Lemmon was nominated and won an Oscar for his performance in this film. That in and of itself is enough to get me to watch it and to get me to own it, and yeah, I'm glad to add it to the collection finally. Some other stuff here, some more mainstream stuff. Superman. For those of you who do not know, and you are here for the first time, I'm a big fan of DC Comics. Batman, Superman, Wonder Woman, probably my favorite comic book superheroes of all time, in that order. And a lot of online discussion about this movie, which I won't get into right now, but I picked it up because it was a brand new release. And also, when was the last time you saw a lenticular cover for a brand new mainstream studio release? I feel like they just don't do that anymore, when they used to do it all the time for Blu-rays and DVDs. Next up here, coincidentally, we'll be talking about this movie later. Jackie Brown, the Quentin Tarantino film. I literally got this in the mail the day that Imprint announced their big deluxe 4K release of this movie. So we will do a little compare and contrast later on about what the difference is between this release here and the new upcoming Imprint release of this movie. Also, quickly, because we already went over all of this. So I will just run this down. For those of you who do not know, currently up on the channel is a big review of many of the September Criterion releases. With Steven and I, we went over went over all of these, but we went over most of the releases from the month of September for Criterion, including this Criterion Premieres edition of Misericordia. We also have some Wes Anderson here with The French Dispatch, the 4K of that. We also have Isle of Dogs. We went over all of these, so check out that video if you haven't already. It is up on the channel currently. You probably have to check in the live tabs because that's where all of the videos end up, going. So if you go onto our channel and you go and look at where it says live, you'll probably see our review of all of these. Here is This is Spinal Tap, which looks really good in 4K, the Rob Reiner film. We have last year's Best Animated Feature Film Academy Award winner in Flow, which is really great. And yeah, so check all of that out if you haven't already. Let me move some of these things back where they belong, and then we will get into what we get into here on Chasing Labels, and that is the movie announcements. Okay. All right, so let's see where we're going to start here. First of all, we do have some comments here. We have some comments from Acres of Movies. Acres of Movies asks, what Turtles features are you most excited for? We will definitely be getting into that. So I'm going to come back to that question because I actually have to go and look at the list of special features. Let's see. Acres of Movies also asks, hire a character to be your butler, Chewbacca, Johnny Five, or the chap in Apocalypto. Chewbacca, why not? He's a great sidekick, great friend. He's kind of a ride or die Wookiee, if you will. Also, best speech in movie history. Interestingly enough, today Criterion released a new Criterion Closet video with Marion Cotillard, and she was talking about The Great Dictator, and she mentioned the speech in The Great Dictator that's at the very end of the movie, the one done by Charlie Chaplin. I think that's the best speech in any movie ever, is the end of The Great Dictator by Charlie Chaplin. I think it's It's timeless. It's incredibly timeless and profound, especially coming from an actor who made his career really in silent film, not taught, not not having voices in movies and things like that. Jeff K is here and he says, "Evening, evening, Jeff. Great to have you." So let's get into some stuff that was announced actually today. A little bit of an addendum to the notes that I have here on YouTube and to the notes that I have just in my personal note taking place. Scream Factory and Shout Factory announced their December titles today. So I will be getting into that right now. Let me go over to the Shout website because Blu-ray.com, while they do list off everything, they give you no details as to what is in any of these releases. So I've got to go to the Shout website and get the details ourselves. So let me list down actually what the actual releases are. Let me adjust some things here, move some tabs so that everything's nice and coordinated. So we will be getting in December The Killer in 4K, which is the Chow Yun Fat starring John Woo movie, which is one of the greatest action movies of all time. This is part of their Hong Kong Cinema Classics line. So that's another number in there. They're also releasing Leaving Las Vegas in 4K. This is the Nicolas Cage and Elizabeth Shue film directed by Mike Figgis. I've had this on Blu-ray for years. I've talked about it a few times. It's one of Nicolas Cage's greatest performances. He won an Oscar for it. And yeah, it's a dark, gritty, sad, melancholic film. Not for the faint of heart. Next, we have the movie Rabid, which is coming out in 4K, and this is the David Cronenberg film. Okay, that's something I'm definitely interested in adding. Next, we've got in 4K as well, Cloud Atlas, an underrated movie from the Wachowskis. In my opinion, I think it's a misunderstood movie. It's based off of a book of the same name, which I've read, and the book is kind of unfilmable. The mere fact that they decided to adapt this book into a movie is courageous in and of itself. Cloud Atlas is yeah, it's kind of unfilmable. I don't know how or why they did it, but the Wachowskis tried to, and I think they did a really good job actually of just kind of putting on screen what the book is. And the book is just so unique, so unique. That is Cloud Atlas. They're putting out steel books of movies. I think they've put out already. So let's go down the list. The Grey's getting a 4K steelbook. Tales from the Dark Side's getting a 4K steelbook. Black Christmas is getting a 4K steelbook. They've released that on Blu-ray and 4K already. I know that for a fact. People Under the Stairs is the same thing. They released a Blu-ray of that as well as a 4K, and now it's getting a steelbook release. The movie Wanted, which is kind of a somewhat okay underrated 2000s action movie, I think based on off a comic. That's getting a 4K steelbook. There's a Shaw Brothers Classics Volume 8 box set that's coming out. And then we have the Sword and Sorcerer 4K Blu-ray steelbook, and then Dawn of the Dead, the 4K Blu-ray steelbook, and this is the 2004 Zack Snyder film. That they've already released on Blu-ray. They've already released a 4K of that as well. They're just giving us a steelbook edition of that. So those of you who like the Shout Factory, Scream Factory steelbooks, there's plenty more coming. But for my interest here, I do want to see what is coming in a couple of these releases. They're also releasing I think website exclusive of a Hong Kong New Wave Essentials. That's what they're titling it. Hong Kong New Wave Essentials. Whether these are Hong Kong New Wave essential movies or not, I don't really know because I haven't watched them myself. But this is a 3-film box set containing the movies Painted Faces, The Story of My Son, and then Woman. Those are the 3 movies in this box set, and these will comprise Hong Kong Cinema Classic spine numbers 22, 23, and 24. Each movie comes, I believe, in its own, at least its own disc. Yeah. I believe its own disc, perhaps its own case. Not really sure. Either way, bonus features, it looks like yeah, let's see. The Painted Faces is getting an audio commentary with film historians Frank Zhang and F.J. DeSanto. Painted Provocations, an interview with co-writer Mabel Chung. A Formidable Face, an interview with film critic David West on the work of Sammo Hung. Brushstrokes, a look into Painted Faces, an interview with film historians John Krang and Rick Meyer. So that is for the movie Painted Faces in this Hong Kong New Wave Essentials box set. The Story of My Son is getting an audio commentary with James Mudge, and then The Story Behind My Son, an interview with film historian John Crank and Rick Myers. And then the third disc is the movie Woman, and it's getting a new audio commentary with James Mudge, and then A Woman's World, an interview with actor Feng Chi Feng, and then Female Problems, an interview with academic and author Victor Fan, Hong Kong Romance, an interview with academic and author Lin Fang, Jade Vases, an interview with film historian John Krang and Rick Myers. So that is the Hong Kong New Wave Essentials box set. That is, I don't know if it's a website exclusive or not. I know like they have an exclusive poster and things like that that comes with it if you order directly from Shout Factory's website. But this is the Hong Kong New Wave Essentials box set of Painted Faces, The Story of My Son, and Woman. Or Women. Sorry, Women. So, but I do want to check to see what Cloud Atlas is coming with. Let's see. So it's a new 4K restoration of the movie Cloud Atlas, new presentation in Dolby Vision, HDR compatible, so you get Dolby Vision and HDR. Disc 2 is just the movie on Blu-ray, and then Disc 3 is the bonus features. Okay, so you get a new What is an Ocean reconnecting the cast and crew of Cloud Atlas. I think it's just an all-encompassing brand new interviews with all kinds of people related to the making of the movie. You know, the directors, the author, the cast members like Tom Hanks and Hugo Weaving, Jim Broadbent, a bunch of things like that. Then you have 7 archival featurettes that I think were just, probably carries over from the original Blu-ray and DVD releases. So I just want to check to see what Cloud Atlas was coming with. Let's see. Leaving Las Vegas is another one because I think the Blu-ray doesn't have any features at all. So you do get a new audio commentary with director Mike Figgis. Okay, at least that's something. That's something. I have Leaving Las Vegas behind me coincidentally on the shelf, but I don't believe the original movie came with any features at all. It was kind of just a miracle that movie got a Blu-ray release in general. So Tales from the Dark Side, I'm assuming it's coming with the, let's see, Tales from the Dark Side, the movie. We've got a 2-disc edition, 4K and Blu-ray. We have 3 audio commentaries on both discs, and then Tales from the Dark Side, the making of 4 Ghoulish Fables, and then behind-the-scenes videos. Okay. That's that. Let's see, what else did I mention? Let's see. Oh, The Killer. Let me see what The Killer's coming with. So, for me personally, I think I've said it here before on Chasing Labels, is I'm waiting for Arrow to put out their versions of these movies. We will get into one that they've already announced for their December titles. Yeah, their December titles, which we'll get into later on in the show. They're releasing their own City on Fire release. We'll get into why why people are waiting for that release, for the Arrow versions of these releases versus getting the Shout Factory ones. But let's see, The Killer is coming. It's a 3-disc set coming with a bunch of features. New 4K scan from the original camera negative and Dolby Vision and HDR compatible. Let's see, new audio commentary with director John Woo and film journalist Drew Taylor. Audio commentary with critic and author David West. And then there's, I think, an archival audio commentary with John Woo and producer Terrence Chang. Oh, that's from the Criterion edition. Okay. So they got the Criterion commentary. That's fascinating. And then disc 2, which is the feature film on Blu-ray. Same scenario there. Three audio commentaries. Then the third disc for The Killer from Shout Factory has the special features. So, brand new, The Hero of Heroic Bloodshed, a John Woo documentary, a feature-length documentary on the cinema of Hong Kong's iconic director. You got interviews with John Woo and a whole bunch of other people that have worked with him over the years and all that kind of stuff. Bullet Ballet, an interview with director John Woo. My Kind of Hero, an interview with producer Terrence Chang. Editing the Killer, an interview with editor David Wu. Hong Kong Confidential, and Inside the Killer with author Grady Hendrix, and then deleted scenes and extended scenes. So these are this is coming December. Yeah, these are the December releases. I completely forgot what I was doing there. So Rabid. So Rabid by David Cronenberg. This is I do want to see if Rabid's got a Blu-ray release before, because I feel like it has. Let me see. It has. Okay. Actually, I think it got a Blu-ray release from Shout Factory. Yeah, so this is an upgrade. This is them upgrading their own release. Yeah, this is them upgrading their own release. I thought it was something like that, because they put out Rabid. They put out. Where do I have it? Let's see. Oh, I have it right here. Dead Ringers. So they put out Dead Ringers. I'm very curious if they're going to end up upgrading this to 4K. I just bought this recently, and knowing my luck, they will be upgrading this to 4K sometime soon. But this is David Cronenberg's Dead Ringers. I think one of his most underrated movies, starring Jeremy Irons. Yeah, I've always been a big fan of this movie. So let's see what they got for Rabid. So Rabid, new 4K scan from the original camera negative, 3 audio commentaries with director David Cronenberg, with William Beard, author of Artist as Monster, the Cinema of David Cronenberg, and then there's an audio commentary with Jill C. Nelson, author of Golden Goddesses, and then the second disc here has the movie as well as those 2 audio commentaries. And then it has new Becoming Cronenberg, an interview with Canadian film historian and author Paul Corupe. Then Inside Rabid, an interview with Violet Lucca, author of David Cronenberg Clinical Trials. And then you've got it looks like some archival stuff with Young and Rabid, an interview with actor Susan Roman, archival interview with director David Cronenberg, Independent Spirit, an interview with executive producer Ivan Reitman. That's kind of cool. Northern Exposure, an interview with co-producer Don Carmody. From Stereo to Video, a video essay by Calum, Vatnsdal, author of They Came From Within, a history of Canadian horror cinema. And Rabbit's from 1977. That's a relatively early David Cronenberg film. So, interesting. Next up, I do want to mention and just go over quickly the Shaw Brothers Classics Volume 8. 8 of these box sets. So, ironically, we'll be talking about more Shaw Brothers later, because there's going to be a Shawscope Volume 4 put out by Arrow in December. So you've got 4 Shawscope box sets from Arrow. You've got 8 volumes box sets from Shout Factory. Plus you have a couple of Shaw Brothers adjacent sets from Shout Factory as well. Then you've got, I think, 2 volumes of Golden Harvest movies from Shout Factory too. Plenty of like 60s, 70s, and 80s martial arts movies to go around. Now you got the Hong Kong cinema classic stuff that's coming out too. So much stuff from that area of the world in cinema from a certain era. So it's quite a time. Quite a time. So let me go and see what the movies are in this set here. Okay. Okay, let me go to. Hold on, I'm gonna go check it on Blu-ray.com. Yeah, so Shaw Brothers Volume 8 has 12 movies on 12 discs. Okay, 12 cabins, 12 vacancies. All right. Let's see what the movies are. Return of the Sentimental Swordsman, Perils of the Sentimental Swordsman, The Duel of the Century, The Emperor and His Brother, Ambitious Kung Fu Girl, The Treasure Hunters, Cat vs. Rat, Ghosts Galore, The Enchantress, New Tales of the Flying Fox, Return of the Bastard Swordsman, and then Secret Service of the Imperial Court. You see, when do these movies range from? 1981 through 1984, so early 80s to close to mid 80s Shaw Brothers stuff. I'm telling you, with all of these 8 volumes plus all the other stuff, you could put together quite a Shaw Brothers collection. My goodness. So that is interesting. Let me see if they have any features here yet. Oh, they do. Okay. And there's features, looks like for each movie, at least an audio commentary or two. I won't go through all of them just in the interest of time. Yeah, so it looks like each movie has at least an audio commentary or two. Only like 1 or 2 of these have a featurette, actually. So, it's mostly audio commentaries, which is fine. Okay. And that is the Shaw Brothers Classics Volume 8 box set. I think that's gonna be it in terms of all the stuff we're dealing with when it comes to Shout Factory and Scream Factory. We talked about The Killer, we talked about Leaving Las Vegas, we talked about Rabid, Cloud Atlas, all the steel books. It's the usual stuff that were on the previous releases, and we talked about the Shaw Brothers set. All right, so let's see what else I have in my notes. Let's see. Bum, 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 bum. Let's see. I went to the wrong place. Okay. So since we did Shout Factory, let's go over to. Bum, bum, bum. I don't even know where to go to. Oh, you know what? Why not? Let's go over to Umbrella. Yeah, I happen to have Umbrella up here. Why not? So Umbrella is releasing, I believe, 6 films for their, I believe, December slate. Let me check if it's actually December. Let's see. When are you coming out? So, oh, January. Okay, so these are their January releases. Sorry, not December. I knew it wasn't December. So, like I said, 6 releases. Umbrella Entertainment, The Tox Box, Complete Toxic Avenger, 1985, 1989, 1989, 2000, and 2025. So this includes the newest Toxic Avenger remake that just came out about a month ago in theaters. Then you have Internal Affairs Trilogy box set, that's in 4K. The Tox Box is also in 4K as well. Kiwi Cult Volume 2, Darkness Inside, that is a Blu-ray collector's box set. And then you've got the movie Cashback, you have the movie Tourist Trap, and then you have the movie Wasabi. Now, in typical, I was gonna say, in typical Umbrella fashion, you can get these in a couple of different editions or versions. You can get one that is a collector's edition and one that is a standard edition. It looks like the standard edition of the Tox Box is out of stock or not available. So you can only get the collector's edition. So the Tox Box, like I said, contains 5 movies. Let's see. Venture from the outrageous trauma cult classics to the latest take on Toxie. Only available from the Umbrella store, the Toxbox Collector's Edition includes 48-page book of behind-the-scenes material and new essays, custom rigid slipcase, custom rigid case using original art, 8 art cards, 3 reversible posters, and let's see what else we've got here. Following Traumaville's mop-wielding mutant hero as he dishes out grotesque gags, gory justice, and eco-friendly mayhem across the generations, overflowing with outrageous humor, splatter-packed action, and cult energy. This is the definitive celebration of cinema's most hideously deformed creature of superhuman size and strength, back and badder than ever. The Tox Box includes The Toxic Avenger, The Toxic Avenger Part 2, The Toxic Avenger Part 3, The Last Temptation of Toxie, Citizen Toxie, The Toxic Avenger Part 4, and then The Toxic Avenger from 2025. Directors are Lloyd Kaufman and Macon Blair. Macon Blair did, of course, the 2025 version of the movie. And yeah, it's kind of all you can ask for. If you're a big fan of Toxic Avenger or Trauma, this is your thing. Let's see. So the first Toxic Avenger movie has 2 audio commentaries, one by Lloyd Kaufman, and the other one by the actors, and then it's got an introduction by Lloyd Kaufman. The second disc is um, it's the Blu-ray of the movie, and it's got the two audio commentaries plus the intro plus the interviews. Then it's got Mark Torgey's special video featurette, 40 years of trauma montage, and the behind the scenes and in production slideshow. The Toxic Avenger Part 2 disc, the UHD disc. This is disc 3 of the box set. It just got an audio commentary with Lloyd Kaufman, intro by Lloyd Kaufman, and then you've got a second disc there for the movie. It's got those two things, plus an at-home with Toxie featurette, a word from trauma villainess Lisa Gay featurette, Toxie on Japanese TV segment, old DVD intro by Lloyd Kaufman. It's a Radiation March PSA, and then 40 years of trauma montage. The Toxic Avenger Part 3, The Last Temptation of Toxie, the UHD disc. Audio commentary with Lloyd Kaufman plus a bunch of other people, and then an audio commentary with actor Joe Flyshaker, and then intro by Lloyd Kaufman himself. And then you've got not last disc, and you've got the second disc for the Toxic Avenger Part 3, which has got those two audio commentaries plus the intro, and then it's got Traumama featurette. It's Traumama featurette, 40 years of trauma montage, make your own damn horror film featurette, a Halloween Carol short, and then Rabbit Grannies on Blu-ray Provo, a Radiation March PSA as well, and then trailers. Now this is and then when you get Part 4, which is on disc 7. This is a massive box set. This is a massive set. So Citizen Toxie, The Toxic Avenger Part 4 from 2000, UHD disc 7 of the box set is 3 audio commentaries and an intro by Lloyd Kaufman. The Blu-ray disc, which is disc 8 of the box set, it's got those 3 audio commentaries plus an intro, plus Apocalypse Soon, The Making of Citizen Toxie, Trauma's Tribute to Lemmy featurette, and then 40 years of trauma montage once again. And then now we get to discs 9 and 10, which is of the new Toxic Avenger movie, which stars Peter Dinklage as the Toxic Avenger. And this has got all new stuff. So the first disc here has audio commentary with director Macon Blair, interview with director Macon Blair, the Toxic Avenger Unrated and Radioactive Comic-Con International. I'm assuming that's the trailer. A Toxic Environment Behind the Scenes Extended, Toxic Personalities Meet the Cast, Toxic Crusaders, and then a new trailer. And looks like the 10th disc here, which is just the Blu-ray, has all of that same stuff. Yes, all that same stuff. All right, that is a massive box set. It's the Tox box, the 4K and Blu-ray collector's edition of all of the Toxic Avenger movies, all 5 of them, including the new remake that just came out this year. And it is a massive set. It's a massive set. If you're, like I said, if you're a fan of the Toxic Avenger, if you're a fan of Trauma, this is the box set for you. For me personally, I've only ever seen the first Toxic Avenger movie and the new one that just came out. So I've never seen any of the sequels in between. That's just me. So I don't have a lot to say about it. All I will say is you really need to know Trauma to appreciate these movies. Trauma is incredibly unique, and it's an acquired taste, and it's not for everyone. It's super low budget, practical. These are like, I wouldn't even call them B movies. These are C movies. That's how low budgeted they are. Lloyd Kaufman is quite a character. Several people you may know got their start in doing Trauma movies. James Gunn is probably the most prominent one we can think of. James Gunn, of course, now is he directed Superman. James Gunn, who's the co-head of DC Studios right now over at Warner Brothers, started out making Trauma movies. His earliest movies, like Slither, is kind of a large budgeted big screen Trauma movie. And even his movie Super is kind of a Trauma movie. I would say, Scooby-Doo and Scooby-Doo 2 Unleashed is not quite Trauma movies, but still, it's early James Gunn stuff. But yeah, James Gunn's probably the most well-known person to come out of Trauma to make it big. But moving on from there, let me close some tabs here so I don't get lost in the muck of it all. Let's see what else we've got here. Oh, the Infernal Affairs trilogy. Now, I'm not going to spend a lot of time talking about this because I talked about this a ton when Criterion put out their trilogy release. I will say that this is a 4K of the movies, as opposed to, I believe, Criterion's release is still just the Blu-ray. Let me actually double check on that. I don't think they've upgraded it yet. Yeah, the Infernal Affairs trilogy from Criterion from 2022 is just a Blu-ray. They haven't upgraded that yet. Don't know if they're going to. We shall see. We shall see. Um, but these movies are fantastic. Specifically, the first movie, the movie The Departed by Martin Scorsese, is a remake of Infernal Affairs. And some people debate, argue, go back and forth about which movie is better. You can't really, I don't think you can really do that, but whatever the case may be, have your own opinion. I don't care. Needless to say, the Infernal Affairs movies are very, very good. I would definitely recommend checking them out if you haven't already. And if you're a fan of The Departed, go back and see the source material. That's always a fun thing to do. So, of course, you've got all three movies. Looks like you get them all on 4K. Let's see how many discs we got here. So, this is a 6-disc set. You do get new stuff in here, new special features for every single movie, new audio commentary for the first film, new interviews with um, people related to the movie. Yeah, I'm just looking here. I don't want to read all this here because we got a lot. We have so many things to go through tonight, and for some reason, I'm just absolutely tired as all heck today. I'm so tired today. Um, so let's see. I just want to see what the exclusives are. Okay, 48-page book. This is the collector's edition stuff. 48-page book, custom illustration, rigid case, custom illustration, disc wallet, 8 art cards, 2 reversible posters, limited edition, numbered release. Yeah, these movies are fantastic. Like, I don't want to say anything about them because it is kind of, I want people to enjoy these for the first time. Enjoy these movies. So that is Infernal Affairs 1, 2, and 3. And these do have features that the Criterion Edition does not have. So if you have the Criterion Edition, you may want to do a little bit of investigation as to if you want to upgrade or not. But if you're happy with what you have, you're happy with what you have. Let's go to the Kiwi Cult, because this is stuff that I haven't really talked about before, although one of these movies has gotten released through one of the Vinegar Syndrome partner labels. So there is a collector's edition of Kiwi Cult Volume 2, Darkness Inside. These are 3 movies. Yeah. Yes, this is a 3-movie box set. You have The Scarecrow from 1982, Jack Be Nimble from 1993, and Crooked Earth from 2001. So the movie that has already gotten a Blu-ray release from one of the partner labels is Jack Be Nimble. Let me go over to Vinegar Syndrome and actually see which label actually put that out. Let's see, Jack Be Nimble. Excuse me. All right. They don't even have it on their website anymore. So let me go over to Blu-ray.com, take a gander. Unless I completely just fumbled. No, Jack Be Nimble. There it is. Let's see. Altered Innocence. Yeah, okay, that makes sense. So Altered Innocence has actually left Vinegar Syndrome like a year ago. They left them a long time ago. Actually, I think over a year ago. So Altered Innocence put out a Jack Be Nimble Blu-ray when they were a partner label over at Vinegar Syndrome back in 2022. That's 3 years ago now. So this is a movie we've already talked about, but we'll be talking about it here again. So let's see. Let's go over the first movie, which is The Scarecrow, which is, quite honestly, is the worst of the 3 movies. I watched this last night and not good. So a haunted blend of gothic melodrama, psychological thriller, and coming-of-age tale, kind of. The Scarecrow is one of New Zealand's most acclaimed films based on the classic novel by Ronald Hugh Morrison. Okay. I kind of feel bad that I'm not a big fan of it. To be honest, the quality of the version in which I watched was really, really bad. Probably a VHS version of the movie. So that kind of, clouds my judgment a bit. But let's see. When 14-year-old Ned wakes to find his chicken stolen, a seemingly minor mystery spirals into something far darker. Hundreds of miles away, a teenage girl is found murdered, and the trail leads to Hubert Salter, a magician, predator, and killer. His twisted obsession, Ned's sister Prudence. As evil closes in, Ned and Prudence must confront the truth no one else dares to see in a town that would rather look away. Yeah, that's kind of the premise of the movie, but the premise is better than the execution of the premise, if you understand what I'm saying. And probably a lot of that has to do with just, the limitations of the production of the time, the quality of the actors and things they had access to, the filmmakers, I mean, that plays a factor into it all. But let's go to Jack Be Nimble from 1993. Abandoned as children and raised apart, Jack and Dora are siblings bound by psychic connections and a haunting past. Dora, gifted with telepathy, searches for Jack, who has escaped from years of abuse at the hands of his adopted parents, but Jack is no longer the boy he once was. Tormented and vengeful, he's on a path of destruction, pursued by the monstrous foster sisters who want him back. As the siblings race to reunite, their reunion will unleash forces both human and supernatural in a world where innocence is lost and monsters wear many faces. A cult classic of New Zealand Gothic cinema, Jack Be Nimble is a twisted, emotionally charged journey into the heart of darkness. Yeah, I would say so. Yet again, it's a movie also limited by certain low budgeted limitations that they had to work with. But I also thought, but it is kind of all of those things. It's very much that vibe. Crooked Earth. Now, this is a way more straightforward movie. And this is a way more straightforward drama. It doesn't have that gothic vibe, that supernatural tone, that horror vibe to it. It's different. You'll see in a second. When Will Bastion, uh, portrayed by Tamora Morrison, returns to home to bury his father, a respected Maori chief, he's drawn into a community on the brink of upheaval. His brother Kahu has claimed leadership, stirring unrest with radical ideas and a dangerous vision for the future. As ancient customs clash with modern struggles, Will must decide where he stands between tradition and change, family and justice. So, as you can see here, completely different movie than those other two. Those other two feel like they fit in the set. This movie is kind of the third odd movie out. This is a family drama. It's a family. Excuse me. This is a family drama dealing with a power struggle that's based in tradition versus modernity versus um, modern political ideas and all kinds of stuff. It's a movie that's trying to cover a lot of things, and it's fine. It's a movie I thought would delve into a lot of those bigger themes a lot more, and it really didn't. It was rather surface level for the most part. And there is a subplot in this movie with Tamora Morrison's daughter that was not good. It was just kind of distracting from the rest of what was going on in the movie, which was much more interesting. But Tamora Morrison is fine in the movie. Um, yeah, I think it's an interesting movie that I thought could have been a lot better. Could have been a lot better considering the premise we've got going on here. Familial confrontation, power struggle between two brothers. That's rather Shakespearean, but the movie doesn't play it up on that scale really at all. Um, and there's some storylines that go nowhere. It was kind of disappointing because it sounds so good. It sounds so good. Let's see. Collector's edition has a 48-page booklet, custom rigid case art, limited edition numbered release. Let's see. The Scarecrow has a new audio commentary with the director Sam Pillsbury, new interview with the director, new interview with actor Tracy Mann. Photo gallery. Jack Be Nimble has some new stuff too. Audio commentary with the director plus actor, cinematographer. It's also got interviews with director Garth Maxwell, interview with actor Sarah Smuts Kennedy, interview with production designer Grant Major, interview with cinematographer, um, and the costume designer. It's got a new short film New short film Beyond Gravity by the director, new short film Naughty Little Peep-Toe by the director, and new short film Come With Us by the director as well. So, a nice little extras package there. Then Crooked Earth has a new audio commentary with director Sam Pillsbury, new interview with the director as well, new interview with actors Tamora Morrison and Lawrence McQuarrie. So Lawrence McQuarrie is actually in Lord of the Rings, and you guys may be wondering, who does he play? So in Fellowship of the Ring, he plays Lurtz, who's kind of the main Urukai with the long braided hair. He's kind of leading the army at the end of the movie. That's this guy, and he's got the long braids in the movie, and he had the same body physique. And I'm like, was he in Lord of the Rings? And lo and behold, he is. So you get a new interview with him and Tamora Morrison, and then you got a new interview with actor Jamie Passier Armstrong, new interview with producer Robin Scholes, new interview with writer and cultural advisor Walhoroy Shortland, and then behind the scenes of Crooked Earth. So that is Kiwi Cult Volume 2, Darkness Inside. That's that. Let's see. So Cashback. Cashback is a movie have been wanting to watch for like almost 15 years. I used to see this movie on so many movie hunting trips to local stores. I would either see the DVD or I would see the Blu-ray all the time. And I always wanted to see the movie, and I just never did up until now. Up until now. So, the description of the movie is as thus. From director Sean Ellis, follows art student Ben Willis, who finds himself unable to sleep after a painful breakup. To pass the long shifts, he takes a late shift job at the local supermarket where time seems to stretch endlessly amid fluorescent aisles and eccentric co-workers. Ben discovers an unusual way of coping with insomnia by letting his imagination transform the ordinary into something extraordinary. Time flies, but the good news is that you're the pilot. Very interesting movie. Okay, this is one of those kinds of 2000, not 2000s. Well, yeah, 2000s. But this is one of those indie movies that you discover at a rather young age, and you believe it to be incredibly profound. And that profoundness may dwindle as you get older. If I had watched this movie when I first discovered it, 15 years ago, when I was in my early to mid 20s, this movie would have a different type of effect on me. Not to say that it's not good, but it would have that different type of effect. Think of when you were younger. Perhaps you have, perhaps you didn't. Um, when you discovered Donnie Darko for the first time. You know what I mean? When you discovered that movie. Also, when you discovered movies like Garden State. This movie and Garden State would be a very good double feature. Cashback and Garden State have similar existential young person in their 20s trying to figure out life vibes to them. And that's what Cashback is. But Cashback does things a little more artsy. There are many moments of this movie where things get rather supernatural, rather trippy. Time tends to stop, and he starts moving through these scenes and scenarios um, where other people are standing still. And it's just him daydreaming, essentially. So if you've ever been a daydreamer and somebody who's had existential crises in their 20s, due to certain personal turmoil, whether it be a breakup or some other type of relationship issues, this movie may be interesting to you. It may be interesting to you, and I'm glad I finally got to watch it. So the movie is called Cashback. Came out in 2006. Let's see what we got here for special features. So the collector's edition has a 48-page booklet, custom artwork rigid case, custom artwork slipcase, 8 art cards, and a reversible poster. Limited edition numbered release. We have a new audio commentary with podcasters, writers, and film analysts, the Wives Colangelo. And then we have a new audio guide, a Cashback-inspired short film by Chris Alina, filmmaker Chris Alina on Cashback, the making of Cashback, alternative / extended scenes, outtakes, the art of Cashback, storyboards, and pre-visualizations, interview with actor Sean Biggerstaff, then Cashback, the 2004 short film, which I think is about 18 minutes long, and it's the short film that this movie is based on. You see that with a lot of indie films. There will be a short first, and then the director will take that short and expand upon it into a feature film. So that's cashback. I'm very interested in that actually. Excuse me. Next we have Tourist Trap. So Tourist Trap from 1979 is an interesting like B horror movie. It's part psycho, part the Puppet Master, part um Texas Chainsaw Massacre, but it's not as good as any of those movies. Excuse me. I'm a mess today. I'm sorry. Oh, Mondays are awful, people. Mondays are awful. So, um, let me get to the description. Uh, when a group of friends find themselves stranded in the middle of nowhere, they seek refuge at a peculiar roadside museum, only to discover that the museum's owner, the eccentric and unsettling Mr. Slauson, is hiding a dark, twisted secret. As night falls, they find themselves trapped in a horrifying maze of strange mannequins and deadly traps. So, people on a road trip, they get lost, weird stranger that's around, that's Texas Chainsaw, that's Psycho. And then when the Puppet Master stuff kicks in, these mannequins start coming to life. That's all I will say. Um, let's see. I don't know if there's anybody in here who is of note to me. Chuck Connors plays this Mr. Slauson character, and Chuck Connors is an actor who had a long career from the 50s all the way to the 80s. Actually, I think from like, yeah. So Chuck Connors is one of only 13 people to have played professional basketball and professional baseball. So he played for the Boston Celtics in the 1940s for like I think two or three seasons. Tall guy. And then he played, I think, for the New York Mets and the Dodgers in the 50s, something like that. I'd have to go and look it up, but I'm not going to do that right now. But anywho, and then he went on to have a very long acting career. And he was in the series The Rifleman, which ran for many seasons, I think from 1958 into the early 60s, that Western TV series. He was in that. He was in a bunch of other movies too. Yeah, Chuck Connors. Look him up if you haven't heard of him. Long career, very long career, and he's actually rather creepy and rather good in this movie. For a movie that's kind of a B horror, like I said, he is very creepy and unsettling at times. And if you've seen a lot of horror movies, you know the plot of this movie, you know where things are going. Interesting, funny, creepy as all heck. Horror mystery going on in here. And so I appreciated it for that. Good atmosphere, good atmosphere. But yeah, let's see what we have for special features, shall we? So the extras: 48-page book, custom illustration, rigid case, custom illustration, slipcase, 8 art cards, reversible poster, audio commentary with Full Moon historian Nat Bremer, surviving Slauson interview with actor Jocelyn Jones, roadside nightmare interview with actor Jerry Van Ness, Slauson's lost scenes from script to screen, Jarrett uh, Gahan on Tourist Trap, audio commentary with director David Schmoller, Exit Through the Chop Shop, The Making of Tourist Trap, a 1999 interview with director David Schmoller, and then Tourist Trap alternate cut. Now, David Schmoller, if I do recall, let me take a gander here at IMDb. I think he directed Puppet Master. Let's see. He also directed Little Monsters. Yeah, I think he directed the I think he directed the Puppet Master. So yeah, Tourist Trap. Yep, Puppet Master. Okay, that's what makes a lot of sense because there's a lot of animatronic work and things going on with the mannequins in this movie that reminded me of Puppet Master. This movie is very much kind of his precursor or trial run at what he would do in Puppet Master a couple of years later. Puppet Master, I can't remember if I have it or not. I can't remember if it's part of that Arrow box set or not. I can't see it from here. I have it twisted the wrong way. So I'm looking at the back of it. But let me see actually. Ba-ba-bum. This is stuff I shouldn't pay attention to but it always gets to me. Let's see. Yeah, I always thought the Puppet Master had a Blu-ray release. Hold on. This is gonna bother the heck out of me. Yeah, it does have a Blu-ray release. see. Yeah, it's got one from Full Moon Features. That makes sense. Okay. Let's see what else we've got here. Okay, so that's it for Tourist Trap. Now we'll move on to actually that's it. That's it for Umbrella because I did not get to see the movie Wasabi, starring Jean Reno. I think it was written by Luc Besson. I still haven't seen the movie, so I can't really comment on it. So we won't get into that right now. Just also in the interest of time, I'm trying to make these episodes less than 4 hours for my own sake. Let's see what else we've got here. I know I've got to bring this up. Yeah, so Sandpiper. Let me see, where are you? Yeah, there they are. Okay. Let me go over to Blu-ray.com and look up the Sandpiper announcements. Because they are re-releasing a bunch of movies that were released by our Olive Films about 10 or so years ago, and they're putting them back into print. So, Sandpiper Pictures unveiled their upcoming releases. They revealed several upcoming Blu-ray releases. Amongst them are Mannequins, Sometimes They Come Back, Zapped, Dirty Work, A Stagecoach, Undercover Blues, and The Meteor Man. So this is so how do I say this? For those of you who remember Olive Films was a small company that got their hands on a lot of catalog titles from certain studios, and they were putting movies out on Blu-ray for a couple of years, for quite a few years. Recently, within the last few years, they no longer exist. The company folded essentially, and so all of the licenses that agreements that they had, obviously they were never renewed, so they lapsed. So now all these movies are out to be licensed by other companies. We've seen Kino pick up some titles. We've seen other companies pick up some titles, and it looks like Sandpiper has picked up some titles as well to put out Blu-ray editions. Now, with Sandpiper Pictures, they're kind of like Olive Films. They don't have the means or the funds to do anything in terms of restorations, new scans, make new features, or anything like that. Basically, they just put the movies on Blu-ray and release them essentially. So that's what we get here, which is a bit of a double-edged sword. It's good that we've got these movies in circulation so we don't have to pay super duper prices for out of print Blu-rays. And then the bad thing is that a lot of these movies probably need new scans, restorations, remasters, stuff like that. They probably could. It would be nice for them to have some special features. A more deluxe take on them would be nice, but we don't have it. So you essentially get what you get. So with these movies here, let's talk about them. So Mannequin is an interesting movie you could only make in the 80s, starring Andrew McCarthy, who basically has this mannequin that's played by Kim Cattrall that comes to life, and they have a romance. It is kind of as weird as you think, and the movie plays up that weirdness pretty to the T. And he's working in an apartment store, a big lavish apartment store that you can only find in the 80s. And it's his job. He works overnight to set up the storefront mannequin display. And one of the mannequins just comes to life one day, and it's this gorgeous Kim Cattrall, and they fall in love with each other and whatnot, and then like shenanigans ensue. Let's just say that. Weird stuff going on in this movie. James Spader is in the film as well. A young James Spader. That's really cool to see. It's kind of an 80s fun film for many people who remember it when they were younger. For the first time watching it, I kind of understand why, if I read some letterbox reviews saying that this movie doesn't hold up and this movie is very creepy and very weird, I understand. A lot of 80s comedies are like that. You got the movie Zapped, starring Scott Baio, who is famously in Happy Days and Charles in Charge. This is a movie where Scott Baio I think he's a college student. Let me see. Yeah, it says when a lab accident leaves. Oh, he's a high school student. When a lab accident leaves high school students, Barney Springboro, Scott Baio, with telekinetic powers, it's a comic free for all in Zapped. Yeah. So he's like this kind of sciencey whiz kid. He's coming up with something, some experiment, and it goes wrong, and he ends up getting zapped, and he gets telekinetic powers, and then just like teenage angsty shenanigans ensue. Like, he and his buddy just do sophomoric teenage dumb stuff that you would do if you were a teenage idiot. Like, especially specifically things when it comes to young girls. Like, I can't tell you how many times in this movie where like he just uses his powers to take people's clothes off. It's ridiculously absurd, incredibly dated, and just like definitely some type of crime. It's just like, but it's madness. And you could do stuff like that in the 80s and it was considered funny. From a modern perspective, it's like harassment. It's really like doesn't really quite hold up. Next thing here. Now, also, all of these are coming out in December. I think December 2nd. Dirty Work. Now, you may be wondering, we just talked about Dirty Work. Vinegar Syndrome just put out a super duper deluxe edition of Dirty Work. You are correct, and it is indeed the same movie. And Dirty Work was put out by Olive Films many, many moons ago. A very long time ago. And I don't know how the licensing works. I know that the Vinegar Syndrome release you can still get. Let me check over at Vinegar Syndrome. I know their special edition one is out of print or sold out, but you can still get a standard edition. Let's see. Yeah, you can still get a standard edition of Dirty Work on 4K from uh from Vinegar Syndrome. And I'm trying to see because it comes with 3 discs. It's a 4K UHD plus 2 Region A Blu-rays. And I'm just curious if it's the movie on Blu-ray plus the 4K on Blu-ray. Doesn't really say. For those of you who have the disc, please let me know. 'Cause I don't have it yet. I'm trying to track down actually a limited edition of it, and I should have bought it when I had the chance because trying to find it is incredibly hard. Anywho, I'm not gonna look for this now. I'm not gonna do this investigative work now because I'm live on here and I should have done this earlier. But either way, I'm just confused how Sandpiper can put out a Blu-ray of this if Vinegar Syndrome has their own edition. Unless that edition is just the 4K, and this is obviously just the Blu-ray. That's the only thing I can think of. But let's move on from there, shall we? So, Dirty Work we've talked about. It's the movie directed by Bob Saget, starring Norm Macdonald, Jack Warden, Artie Lang, a bunch of other comedians show up in the movie. It actually holds up and as a comedy really well. So Sometimes They Come Back is a movie based off of a Stephen King short story in his collection of short stories called Night Shift. So Sometimes They Come Back. Tim Matheson gives what Entertainment Weekly called a truly moving performance in the well-acted and skillfully produced Stephen King's Sometimes They Come Back. Based on the short story by Stephen King, Sometimes They Come Back stars, like I said, Tim Matheson as the troubled Jim Norman who moves back to his hometown with his wife Sally and his son Scott after accepting a teaching job at the local high school. But the town holds dark memories for Jim, who moved away years earlier following the murder of his brother. The young men responsible for the murder met with their own horrific deaths, and now those restless spirits have come back for revenge. So you've got a person here who had a childhood trauma that is now haunting him as an adult. Sounds very Stephen King to me. Sounds very Stephen King to me. And yeah, it is very, very much a Stephen King story. Kind of a lesser story. Even this adaptation is definitely one of the lesser adaptations of his work. It's fine for what it is. It's very straightforward. Feels a little bit like it. There's a little It vibe in there because it's got, young kids dealing with some supernatural entities and whatnot. But anyway, it's nowhere near as good as a lot of his other stuff. So Stagecoach This is a 1986 TV movie. I think it's a 1986 TV movie of the same name as the 1939 classic. The 1939 John Ford film is an all-time classic that I recommend everyone watch. So, paying homage to the 1939 classic and the 1996 version of the tale, Stagecoach tells the story of a group of passengers, a cross-cultural mix that includes Doc Holliday, the Ringo Kid, the sailor Marshall Curly Wilcox, and Hatfield aboard the Outward Bound Overland Express stagecoach. The cast also includes John Schneider, Anthony Franciosa, Anthony Newell, Merritt Buttrick, Jesse Holter, June Carter Cash. Johnny Cash is in the movie as well. Uh, yeah, so this is an interesting movie with a star-studded cast. It's basically just a TV version remake of the classic stagecoach movie. I liked it for what it is. Directed by Ted Post. Willie Nelson plays Doc Holliday, which makes no sense because Doc Holliday, I think, died when he was 36, and Willie Nelson's in his 50s in this movie. So that makes no sense. Chris Christopherson is the Ringo Kid. Johnny Cash is the lawman in here who's protecting the stagecoach. John Schneider from Dukes of Hazzard and Smallville fame is the stagecoach driver in this. And yeah, it's fine. Let's see. Then you have The Meteor Man, a movie I don't think I saw in like 30 years. So The Meteor Man is written, directed, and stars Robert Townsend, the Independent Spirit Award nominee for Hollywood Shuffle. So Hollywood Shuffle is put out by Criterion. Hollywood Shuffle is a really great film. That movie I do highly recommend. Robert Townsend is a talented man. He's an actor, writer, and director, and he stars in this movie as the shy and retiring school teacher Jefferson Reed in The Meteor Man. Jefferson, who gains mysterious superpowers when he's struck by a meteor fragment, uses those superpowers to help his neighborhood combat gang crime. A time-honored tradition of superheroes, Superman, Batman, Spider-Man, Jefferson's courage will be tested as his superpowers diminish, and he must decide where true strength really lies. So, you've got Robert Townsend in a superhero movie where he gets struck by a meteor and gains like Superman type powers, like super strength. He's indestructible. He can fly. That's basically what it is. And in doing so, he decides to fight the local gangs and will just happen to be led by Don Cheadle. Don Cheadle with like platinum blonde hair, like blonde hair Don Cheadle, and it's lower budgeted, so there's some definite campiness in it. It's from when this movie come out, 1994, I think. Where are you? I lost my place. Let's see, I think this came out in 1993, so you have to keep that in mind. This is right after the superhero craze of Batman Returns. This is in the aftermath of that. You would get a lot of 90s, like not lower budgeted, but like just looking back at it, it looks lower budgeted, but it's what we could do at the time. Think of like The Phantom. Think of The Shadow. Think of like the other 90s superhero movies that are nothing like today. Blade is awesome. But outside of that, not a lot of great things happening. Of course, you had Batman Forever, you had Batman and Robin. Yeah, it's not even on that level of. It's more of an interesting social commentary than it is a good superhero movie. But I've always been a big fan of Robert Townsend. Uh, let's see, what was the? I wanted to bring this up, and I should have wrote it down, but I'm an idiot. So Robert Townsend, my introduction to Robert Townsend, he was on like a family sitcom in the 90s. I'm going to look it up right now. Why did I should have. I'll tell you, I'm always so unprepared. I over prepare and then I under prepare at the same time. I get hyper fixated on preparing for these episodes, and then I forget the small little details and I get upset with myself. Let me see. Let's see. So, Robert Townsend, The Parenthood. That's what it was. It was a sitcom that ran from 1995 to 1999, ran for 90 episodes, and I was a big fan of it when it was on. I don't even think that movie has ever gotten any type of home media release at all. I don't even think it got a DVD release. No, not even a DVD release. So, yeah, not even a DVD release, which is a shame. A lot of 90s TV still is languishing either in older DVDs or just not even on physical media at all. And if they did get a physical media release, they got like a season or two, and then that was it. They never got full complete runs. But anywho, let's move on from what I was just talking about. That is it for Sandpiper. That is all of their stuff for December. So if you're interested in any of these, The Meteor Man, Undercover Blues, I forgot to talk about. So Undercover Blues is a movie starring let's see, what's his name? Kathleen Turner. Kathleen Turner, Stanley Tucci, Richard Jenkins is in the film, and Dennis Quaid. Yes, and Dennis Quaid. So Dennis Quaid and Kathleen Turner are a married spy couple, and they are on maternity leave because Kathleen Turner just had a baby. You know, they have some time off, but they are brought back in because of a special case they've got to go on. And this movie is like a family spy comedy adventure. Think of like Spy Kids, think of things like that. It's very similar in tone. Not quite as cheesy as those, but very similar in tone. Kind of really funny comedy throughout. I really enjoyed it. Yeah, so that is that. So like I said, The Meteor Man, Undercover Blues, Stagecoach, Sometimes They Come Back, Dirty Work, Zapped, and Mannequin are all getting Sandpiper Pictures releases in December. But yet again, don't expect these to be great releases. These are probably going to be the same exact quality that was released by Olive Films a decade or so ago. So that is it for Sandpiper Pictures. Let me move on to some other stuff here. Let's go over to Kino. Why not? Yeah, let's go over to Kino. Let me go get the Kino stuff. I got to go digging on their Facebook page like I always do. Let's see. Da-da-da-da. Oh, Kino is also having a sale right now on their website. I probably should bring that up. Yeah, Kino is having a sale on their site right now. They're is it the Kino Lorber Studio Classics Fall Sale. So they're having a sale. Barnes and Noble's having a sale. Plenty of Kino to go around. So if you're looking to catch up on some Kino, now is the time to do it. Let's see. Yep. Okay, so a couple of releases here. Well, of course, first we've got the movie Frightmare. This is Kino Cult number 40. And this is a movie I actually watched last night. And let me see if I... Oh, yeah. This is a British horror film from the late 70s, well, mid-70s, 1974. Let's see. After escaping a death sentence for her hideous crimes, a seemingly rehabilitated woman settles in an isolated farmhouse with her husband, only to ache once more for blood and a crash course in surgery is indeed her old self back. So, yeah, at the beginning of this movie, you get this setup of this woman who commits these horrible crimes. She's put away in an insane asylum for about 17 years or so, but now she's rehabilitated. I think she's all better, but of course, we all know that's never the case. So they let her out. Her husband and her are kind of isolated away, but they've got he's got a stepdaughter with another woman from a previous marriage, and they also had a child that was put up into an orphanage when they went away to prison, or were put away, essentially, both of them. And now they come back into the scene, and we're kind of following their story as to what they're up to and what their connection is to these two people. And of course, as the movie goes along, old demons come to the surface, if you will. I dug the movie. I actually rather dug the movie. So that is the premise of Frightmare. Let's see what we have here for special features. So for Frightmare, we've got 2 audio commentaries. One by Stephen R. Bissett, author of We Are Going to Eat You Cannibal Movies. Another audio commentary by director Pete Walker and cinematographer Jesse Jessup, with Steve Chibnall, author of Making Mischief, the cult films of Pete Walker. For the Sake of Cannibalism, an interview with Pete Walker by Elijah Drenner, Sheila Keith, A Nice Old Lady, a profile including interviews with former collaborators, interview with editor Robert C. Dearberg, interview with actor Paul Greenwood. So, nice little package there. Let's see. What else do we have here? Oh, we got a box set, a Blu-ray box set. Or is that a 4K? Can't really tell. Oh, it is a 4K box set. Yes, it is. It is the Ninja Trilogy, 1981 through 1984. We have Enter the Ninja, Revenge of the Ninja, and we've got Ninja 3, The Domination. So I've only got to see Enter the Ninja. So Enter the Ninja stars Franco Nero as a ninja. And he trains as a ninja in Japan. He goes over to the Philippines to visit his friends who happen to own a large swath of land there, but there's some evil people that want their land, and they are doing some devious things to try to get it. And Franco Nero steps in to try to help them with his ninjutsu, and that is the movie. Yeah, so we've got an audio so we've got a brand new HDR Dolby Vision Master from a 4K scan of the 35mm original camera negative for Enter the Ninja. Audio commentary with actor, film historian Mike Leader and Arn Venema. Theatrical trailer. And then for Revenge of the Ninja, brand new HDR Master from a 4K scan of the 35mm original camera negative. Audio commentary by director Sam Furstenberg and stunt coordinator Stephen Lambert. Audio commentary by action film historian Mike Leader and Arn Venema. Intro by Sam Furstenberg. Behind the scenes photo gallery. Let's see. 5.1 surround sound lossless and 2.0 audio. Same thing for the first movie. Let's see. Ninja 3, the Domination. Brand new HDR Dolby Vision Master from a 4K scan with 35mm original camera negative. Audio commentary by director Sam Furstenberg and stunt coordinator Steve Lambert, moderated by Robert Galuzzo. Isolated score selections and audio interviews with composer Misha Siegel and production designer Elliot Ellenstuck. Excuse me. Dancing with Death, interview with actress Lucinda Dickey. Secord Struggle, interview with actor Jordan Bennett. Birth of the Ninja, the interview with producer and stuntman Alan Amiel. And then 5.1 surround and lossless 2.0 audio. Yeah, that is Enter the Ninja Trilogy. That is coming out November 18th. And then we've got a movie here that I tried to see, but I couldn't quite find, is the Gracie Allen murder case from 1939. Now, this is getting a brand new HD master from a 4K scan, audio commentary by film historian Bernie Prokop, and that's it. So, silver screen star Warren William portrays the debonair detective Philo Vance and vivacious vaudevillian Gracie Allen portrays, well, Gracie Allen in the marvelously charming crime comedy The Gracie Allen Murder Case. Super sleuth Vance faces the zaniest case of his career when Allen helps him try to solve the murder of an escaped convict. I'm assuming like a zaniness ensues. I feel like that's what they're selling me here on it. Yeah, I wanted to say it looked interesting. I'm also a sucker for any movie from the 30s. This is coming out November 18th. Next, we have The Barbarian. So, The Barbarian, coming out November 25th. It has an audio commentary by film historian Troy Haworth and Nathaniel Thompson, and that is it. An evil ruler, Kadar, let's see, enslaves Canary, a beautiful young queen, and two twin boys from her clan. Canary's faithful servant takes one of the twins to a distant land where he grows strong and powerful, while the other twin stays with the evil Kadar. With the help of a young outlaw woman, the twins set out to free their mother, starring the Barbarian Brothers. Starring the Barbarian Brothers, Peter Paul and David Paul. Okay. Oh, directed by cult filmmaker Ruggero Deodato, who directed Cannibal Holocaust. All right, that's interesting. I'm surprised it's not a Kino cult release. Anywho, next we've got a 4K box set. Now, this is a 4K box set of 4 Alec Guinness films. Yes, no, 3 Alec Guinness films. No, 4. 4, sorry, 4. So, coming out November 25th is the Alec Guinness Masterpiece Collection, 1949 to 1955. And this is a couple of discs. Let's see, what do we have for discs here? So, disc 1 is Kind Hearts and Coronet. It's got an audio commentary by film historian Kat Ellinger. Then disc 2 is The Lavender Hill Mob and The Man in the White Suit. Now, HDR DV restorations are all done by Studio Canal. So Studio Canal has released their own editions of Kind Hearts and Coronet, The Lavender Hill Mob, and I'm assuming The Man in the White Suit, and The Lady Killers, which is on the next disc. We'll get to that. So HDR/DV restoration by Studio Canal, audio commentary for The Lavender Hill Mob by film historian Jeremy Arnold, audio commentary for The Man in the White Suit by film historian Dean Brandom, and then for disc 3, which is The Lady Killers, we've got audio commentary by film historian Philip Kemp, and then audio commentary by film historian David Del Val and film historian/producer Dan Marino, not the quarterback. So the 4th disc is all bonus features. It's a Blu-ray disc full of bonus features. Now we get a series of bonus features for each film, and they are broken down as such. Roll with me here, because there's a lot. Excuse me. Kind Hearts and Coronets is the intro by filmmaker John Landis. Also for Kind Hearts and Coronets, Those British Faces, interview with cinematographer, alternate American ending, and then a theatrical trailer. For The Lavender Hill Mob, got an intro by Martin Scorsese. Mavis Nicholson interviews T.E.B. Clark, audio interview with director Charles Crichton, and then a theatrical trailer. So, for The Man in the White Suit, we have interviews with filmmaker Stephen Frears and film critic Ian Christie. And then we have a theatrical trailer for The Man in the White Suit. And then for The Lady Killers, we have Forever Ealing, a documentary, interview with Alan Scott, interview with Ronald Harwood, interview with Terrence Davies, cleaning up The Lady Killers, and then a theatrical trailer. So this is a mega set. This is a really nice 4K set put out by Kino of these British films. I've seen all of these movies, and I like all of these movies. I really do. These are all really good. I've actually been looking to get the Studio Canal releases of Kind Hearts and Coronet and The Lavender Hill Mob and The Lady Killers already. So this is a nice set that's a good substitute for the Studio Canal stuff. Now, I do not know if the Studio Canal releases and this set have the same special features. I didn't dig that deep into this. All I know is that this set does come with a lot of good stuff, as you can tell from what I just read. So if you would, and I do know Studio Canal is Region B when it comes to their Blu-rays, but the 4Ks obviously are region free. So that may be something you want to keep in mind too, whether when deciding whether to get the Studio Canal releases of these movies or to get this Kino release. Either way, this is a nice set. Alec Guinness, The Masterpiece Collection, 1949 to 1955, coming out November 25th. A 4K set with a 4th Blu-ray disc filled with extras. Let's see, what else do we have here? There's a French Noir set coming out. I may have talked about this already. I don't know. I feel like I have, because these movies look familiar to me. I don't remember what I talked about from episode to episode. I'll be real with all of you guys. When I do these episodes, I just do it. I just get it all out there, display all the information for you guys, and then I wipe the slate clean and move on to the next one, to the point where I may repeat myself several times. I don't do it on purpose. I do it mostly by accident, because I just need my brain to shift gears into the next thing. I can't linger on. I'm trying not to linger on the past. But French Noir Collection 2, 1953 to 1961. We've got, let's see, we have 2 discs, and each disc has 2 movies. So it's a 4-movie set. Disc 1, Rhine Virgin from 1953. It's a 2021 4K restoration. The Beast is Loosed, a 2021 4K restoration. There's a new audio commentary for Rhine Virgin, and there's a new audio commentary for The Beast is Loose. So each movie gets its own audio commentary. Disc 2, Trapped by Fear, 2017 2K restoration. The Passion of Slow Fire, 2021 4K restoration. Now, you may notice Trapped by Fear is the odd one out. It's the only one that didn't get a 4K restoration. It's got an older 2K restoration. But each movie gets its own commentary as well. So that is French Noir Collection Volume 2. Okay, coming out. That's coming out November 25th. Let's see. We also have another movie that's coming soon on Blu-ray for my 4K restoration by Universal Pictures and the Film Foundation. That is Texas Rangers, starring Fred McMurray, Jack Oakey, Gene Parker, and Lloyd Nolan. This is a movie that I did get to watch actually, and it's an interesting movie about like friends turned enemies due to just life going in different directions. You have these three outlaws who are like three friends, and they're robbing places, and they end up having to go separate ways because the law's onto them essentially, and one ends up becoming a Texas Ranger, and one it becomes an outlaw. And actually, two become Texas Rangers, and one becomes an outlaw, and they end up having to go against each other. Obviously, they're on two different sides of the law. So the movie kind of plays in that realm of things. I thought it was rather good. It is kind of odd to see Fred McMurray in a Western, I'll be honest. Fred McMurray is that guy who doesn't look like he fits in certain genres. Fred McMurray, of course, would be actually after this. He would be in Double Indemnity. He fits in there. He fits in Double Indemnity. But seeing him as like a bad guy, outlaw in the Old West is a little odd to me. But he works. Whatever. Let's see. Oh, they are putting out a 4K edition of Barb Wire in 2026. The movie starring Pamela Anderson, Tamora Morrison, and Udo Kier. So that should be a lot of fun. So that is it from Kino. That is it. Let me see where we're going next. I think so. We have Imprint we got to talk about. We have Imprint, Arrow, Eureka, and some individual wants to talk about. It was some Death Crocodile too, and some individual wants to talk about, and that's about it. It's not a big week. I was able to avoid the October 1st dump of Vinegar Syndrome titles that are going to be happening this coming Wednesday, so that will be saved for the next episode. Yeah, probably for the next episode. I was going to say maybe I would do an episode next week on them, but I have a feeling there's just going to be too much to cover between episodes of Chasing Labels. So let's see where we're going to go to next. Let's go to Imprint actually. Let me go over to Imprint's website to see what they've got going over there. Let's see which thing do I want to go with? Hold on, I'm spelling stuff over here. Let's see. So Imprint, while we talked a little bit about their slate last time, they always like to surprise us with random drops of information. They always like to drop. Hold on, I want to move some movies over here. Like I said, when I told you guys I had a whole stack of movies, I have a whole stack of movies. Let me see, is this actually showing up in camera? No, well, yeah, it is. So I have this whole stack of movies next to me, and I have my drinks right here. So I'm always afraid that I'm going to spill something on these movies. I probably should move them, but whatever. That's a little aside. Like as I was saying, Imprint always likes to drop random surprise announcements, and they dropped 3 surprise announcements. They dropped that they will be releasing a 4K UHD hardbox collector's edition of Jackie Brown, Silent Night, Deadly Night Parts 1 and 2, and then Kill Bill Volume 1 and 2. Now, let's start at the beginning, shall we? Let's go to Jackie Brown. So, as I showed you guys in my little intro movie collection update, I just bought this 4K, which came out earlier this year. The Kill Bill Volumes 1 and 2 4Ks also came out earlier this year as well. So let's do a little compare and contrast because I heard that this looks fantastic. I haven't watched it yet. I just got it last week in the midst of me preparing for all kinds of stuff we've been doing here on Chasing Labels. We Last week we did our reviews of all of the Criterion stuff from September. We did a Movies Down Memory Lane episode on Saturday. I'm doing this episode today here on Chasing Labels, and then tomorrow there will be a new unwatched pile with Steven and I. So we got a lot of things cooking here. So I wasn't able to like watch movies for fun. I had to watch movies for this, for Chasing Labels. But I heard this looks fantastic. So I'm expecting the imprint edition to look just as good. So let's see. The big question is special features. So let's see. This is disc. There's one, two, oh, just two discs. Okay, I thought there'd be more. So if you've never seen Jackie Brown, I think it is one of Quentin Tarantino's greatest films, and it's the one I think that doesn't really get a lot of the love that it should. It's really fantastic. It's the movie he made in between. Oh, what did he make this in between? Let me look up Tarantino. I think Pulp Fiction and the Kill Bill films. Let's see. Yes, it is. So yeah, it's the one he did in between those two, and I feel like it gets kind of lost in that shuffle. And because he did Reservoir Dogs, Pulp Fiction, Jackie Brown, Kill Bill Volume 1, Kill Bill Volume 2. Okay, so it gets kind of lost in there. You know, it's sandwiched in between two of his more culturally known movies. But I think it's fantastic. Robert Forster, you've got just an incredible cast. Robert De Niro, actually the cast is on the front here. Pam Grier, Sam Jackson, Robert Forster, Bridget Fonda, Michael Keaton, and Robert De Niro. Michael Keaton's in like one scene. Oh no, he's not. No, he's in this movie. He's in one scene and Out of Sight. I get that confused. So he's in one scene and Out of Sight, but he's in this movie a lot more. And yeah, I really love this movie a lot. It's based off of a book by Elmore Leonard. I think it's Rum Punch. No, not Rum Punch. Let me actually go. See, I should look this up. Not rum. The rum. No, is it Rum Punch? Hold on. Maybe it is Rum Punch. I need a co. Yeah, it is Rum Punch. I was thinking of Rum Diary, which is something completely different. So yeah, so Jackie Brown, like I said, I think it's one of Quentin Tarantino's most underrated films. I think it's fantastic. So disc one is just the movie on 4K. It says 2160p ultra high definition presentation on 4K UHD with Dolby Vision and HDR10. Now, I'm going to keep up the details about this original 4K. So yeah, this original 4K has the Dolby Vision and HDR10. Just to do a little side by side comparison. So disc 2 for the imprint edition is a Blu-ray of the movie, and it has breaking down Jackie Brown. Critics Roundtable has Jackie Brown, How It Went Down documentary, a look back at Jackie Brown interview with director Quentin Tarantino, Chicks with Guns full video with Tarantino introduction, Siskel and Ebert at the movies, Jackie Brown review, Jackie Brown on MTV, marketing gallery, stills gallery, enhanced trivia track, deleted scenes and alternate scenes, vintage Robert Forster trailers, vintage Pam Grier trailers and radio spots, and English GTS HD 5.1 surround, and then subtitles. Let me go into the review on here. Let's see. I'm just looking at the Blu-ray review. Just get a list of the special features. I think we have all the. Let's see. Breaking down Jackie Brown. Jackie Brown, How It Went Down. that's on both. I Look Back at Jackie Brown, that's on both. Chicks with Guns is on both. Siskel and Ebert at the Movies, that's on both of the releases. Jackie Brown on MTV, that's on both releases. Marketing Gallery, Stills Gallery, that's on both releases. Let's see, Trivia Track, that's on both releases. You guys are kind of getting what I'm going for here. It's all this. It's got all the same features. Okay. So what does this have that's different than this release? I don't think there's much of anything on at least on disc. Okay, the only thing difference is limited edition 2-disc hard box with an exclusive hardback booklet featuring a brand new essay by film critic Bill Shaberi. That's it. That's the only difference between this release and the Imprint release is that booklet with that essay. It's got all the same on disc content, so you don't necessarily have to get it unless you don't have it yet at all. Let's go over to, since we're in the Tarantino mode, let's go over to Kill Bill Volume 1 and Volume 2. To be honest, I think it's the same story. I just doing a tangential look before at this, when it was announced, I think it's the same. It's the same thing. The only difference here is you get a little more extra swag in this collector's edition. Okay. Strictly limited edition packaging featuring a large hard box with a flip lenticular panel showcasing the iconic poster artwork for each film. This is a heavy, bespoke collector's item measuring 24 by 32 centimeters, weighing in at 1.5 kilograms, and comes replete with comprehensive physical extras. Full color matte laminated 27 by 40 folded print of the original theatrical one sheet for Kill Bill Volume 1. So you get 27 by 40 that's a full one sheet. Those are the size that you see at movie theaters in the big old case things. That's the size of this. And then you get that for Volume 1. And I think you get the same for Volume 2. Okay? And then you get a large format color photo booklet featuring original production stills from both films, 6 large format lobby cards featuring the original production stills from both films, 2 hard cases housing all 4 discs. Okay. So then on the disc content side, it's the same. Yeah, I'm pretty sure it's the same. Let me just do a quick due diligence here for everybody at home. I have both of these discs already. I have them in my Quentin Tarantino section, which is over there. It's like way over there off screen. You can't see it. But I need to see what we've got here. So let's go. Kill Bill Volume 1. It's been the same. Unfortunately, it's been just the same. Yeah, the making of Kill Bill, the 5, 6, 7, 8 music performance, and then trailers. It's the same on the Imprint release. The making of Kill Bill and the 5, 6, 7, 8 music performance are all in standard definition. They've never even had the good graces to upgrade these to HD. Let's see. And then there's a 4K disc of all of that, and then there's a Blu-ray disc of all of that. It says the 111-minute theatrical cut. Let's see. Yeah, that's the one we've got. That's the one we've got on 4K as well. Let me go over to Kill Bill Volume 2, see what's on that 4K release. Doing a little compare and contrast here between the releases from Lionsgate and the releases from Imprint, just to keep everybody back on track here. So let's see, Kill Bill Volume 2. Let's see, we have the making of Kill Bill Volume 2, Damo deleted scenes, Chingon music performance. Chingon, yeah. So disc 3, yeah, so the making of Kill Bill, deleted scene, music performance, same exact stuff on both releases. And then you've got a 4K release of the movie and then a Blu-ray release of the movie. So it's all the same. It's all the same except for the little extra bells and whistles for this set, for this Kill Bill set. So if you want the cool extra stuff, if you don't own Kill Bill on 4K UHD yet, you may want to pick up this set because you do get a bunch of little extra stuff. You get some big old posters as and that's about it. You get some big posters. You get a photo booklet. Uh, you get 6 lobby cards. But you get the same exact on disc content that you get from the Lionsgate releases here in the US. Okay. Okay. Well, like I said, a lot to go over. And then just for the rest of it, let's go to Silent Night, Deadly Night. So Silent Night, Deadly Night parts 1 and 2. You get it's 4K UHD plus Blu-ray plus VHS limited edition. See, now this is that's interesting. So let's see. The strictly limited edition packaging features a large hard box with spot gloss treatment and Snow White partial grit finish. This is a heavy bespoke collector's item, feet measuring 24 by 32 centimeters, weighing in at 1.5 kilograms. Comes replete with comprehensive physical extras: 3 full color matte laminated 27 by 40 posters for Silent Night, Deadly Night, a full color laminated 27 by 40 folded poster for Silent Night, Deadly Night Part 2, a reproduction of the original 1984 press kit for Silent Night, Deadly Night, and then 8 replica lobby cards featuring original production stills from both films, a reprint of issue number 1 of the official Silent Night, Deadly Night comic adaptation from American Mythology Productions, and a 3D lenticular hard case housing all 4 discs. So, the first disc is Silent Night, Deadly Night, theatrical cut on 4K. 2160p ultra high definition presentation of the 82-minute theatrical cut on 4K UHD with Dolby Vision and HDR10. Audio commentary by author Amanda Reyes and Hysteria Continues podcast. That's it. And then disc 2 is the movie on Blu-ray, which has that same commentary. And then it has The Night He Came Home for Christmas, featuring Creating Silent Night, Deadly Night, interview with producer Scott Schneid, in search of Charles Sellier Jr., remembering the director, interview with the editor Michael Spence, Naughty or Nice, 40 Years of Silent Night, Deadly Night, interview with producer Scott Schneid and Dennis Whitehead. And then disc 3 is Silent Night, Deadly Night unrated cut Blu-ray. Yeah, it's got audio commentary with Brian Wilson and co-executive producer Scott Schneid. Audio commentary by writer Michael Hickey, composer Perry Botkin, editor and second unit director Michael Spence, and co-executive producer Scott J. Schneid. Sleigh Bells Ring, the story of Silent Night, Deadly Night. Oh Dear, Linnea Quigley on Silent Night, Deadly Night. Christmas in July, Silent Night, Deadly Night locations, featurette. Audio commentary with Charles E. Sellier Jr. from 03. Trailers, TV spots, stills gallery, Santa's Stockings of Outrage text gallery, and then let's see, Silent Night, Deadly Night unrated cut on VHS. The 85-minute unrated cut on VHS, PAL or NTSC options. Okay, so that's all right. So that's all for Silent Night, Deadly Night Part 1. So Silent Night, Deadly Night Part 2 is disc 4, which has the theatrical cut on Blu-ray. Okay. And that has 1080p high definition presentation on Blu-ray of the 88-minute theatrical cut. And then audio commentary with director, writer, editor Lee Harry, writer Joseph H. Earl, and actor James Newman. Audio commentary by co-writer, director Lee Harry, and actors Eric Freeman and James Newman, with moderator Justin Beam. I know Justin Beam. Sleigh Bells Ring Again, the story of Silent Night, Deadly Night Part 2. I Don't Sleep, a conversation with Christopher Biggs. Garbage Day are here again. Silent Night, Deadly Night Part 2, filming locations, featurette. Ricky Today, the Caldwell interview short films from 2018. So, Silent Night, Deadly Night, obviously you guys can tell, is the better of the 2 movies, and it definitely is. Silent Night, Deadly Night Part 2 is mostly a clips movie of the first film for a good half of the movie, and then it gets into like its own plot, which is not very good. But it's got the most famous line in the franchise, "Garbage Day," which is hilarious. Hilarious. The movie is hilarious too. It's one of those so bad it's good movies. But that is it for Silent Night, Deadly Night parts 1 and 2, 4K UHD plus Blu-ray plus a VHS. You get all kinds of goodies with it as well. So that is it from Imprint. Kill Bill Volumes 1 and 2. Getting a limited edition hardbox edition. Jackie Brown getting the same thing, as well as Silent Night, Deadly Night Parts 1 and 2. Alrighty then, let's go someplace else because we are everywhere. Let's see. I'm gonna save Arrow for the last, just for those of you listening and watching. Let me go over to some of the individual releases. Let me go digging over and finding those. So, let me go to Deaf Crocodile. Why not? Deaf Crocodile announced 2 new releases. My buddies over at Deaf Crocodile. Let me see if I can find their stuff. So they are putting out 2 new, like I said, 2 new releases. The first one here is Alron and it's 2 movies, the double feature. It's called Alron, and then the second film is The Student of Prague. And I believe these are both silent films. I didn't get to see them, so I don't have much to say about them. But these are, I think, German silent film rarities. It says German silent genre rarities from director Heinrich Galeen. So I'm going to read a little bit of this here, maybe just this first paragraph, because I don't want us all to be here forever, me just reading to you guys, like story time. So, Deaf Crocodile is thrilled to collaborate with the Film Museum München to release these 2 exceptionally rare German silent genre treasures from pioneering Jewish director slash writer Heinrich Galeen, who wrote and directed the original, recently reconstructed 1915 version of The Golem. Oh, they're putting that out. I think so. Starring Paul Wegener and scripted Nosferatu and the Waxworks. Restored by the Film Museum München, Alron and Student of Prague show Galeen's flair for delirious, expressionist horror fantasy. Okay, so Alron, or A Woman of Destiny from 1927, runs 131 minutes long. Deranged Weimar era erotic sci-fi horror starring Brigitte Helm as the unholy offspring of a genetics experiment conducted by her scientist father, Paul Venegar, who implants the semen of a hangman in the womb of a prostitute. Okay, we're just practicing eugenics. Okay. As an adult, the lithe, sinuous Helm drives men to suicide and madness, including her own pseudo-father, Wegener, who succumbs to all kinds of stuff here. Okay, it's getting weird, people. It's getting weird. Okay, now The Student of Prague, which is from 1926, is 133 minutes long, starring Conrad Veidt. Conrad Veidt, of course, being from The Cabinet of Dr. Caligari. He was also in Casablanca. He's also in The Man Who Laughs. He is pretty much the basis. Well, his character in The Man Who Laughs is the basis for the Joker from Batman, pretty much. Stars as a hell-raising student who sells his soul to the devil, but Veidt hasn't bargained on meeting his own evil doppelganger who literally steps out of a mirror Cocteau-like and starts to take over his life. This sounds incredible. This sounds incredible. The special features are excerpt from off. Oh boy, I can't read this. Off. Oh boy, there's an excerpt from a book. So, yeah, excerpts from Off Gefährlichen Spuren from 1924, Film Museum Dusseldorf. That's 15 minutes. This clip from the 1924 crime film is a rare opportunity to see Galeen's work as both writer and actor, alongside frequent collaborator director Harry Peel. A new video interview with Stefan Drossler of the Film Museum München about the preservation of Galeen's films, moderated by Dennis Bartok of Deaf Crocodile. That runs 90 minutes long. Gee, that's a heck of a feature. New audio commentary with film historian Jan Christopher Horek, former director of the UCLA and Film and TV Archive, and the Film Museum München. Reversible wrap art by Beth Morris, Blu-ray authoring by David Mackenzie of Fidelity in Motion. There's a deluxe edition bonus content. It's the slipcase featuring new artwork by David McKean, 80-page illustrated book, newly translated essays, new essay by Stefan Drossler, new essay by Walter Chaw, new essay by Stephen R. Bissett, and rare original photos and artwork. A heck of a set. Telling you, Death Crocodile does some unique stuff. They do stuff that no one else is doing. Speaking of which, this is something I've never heard of before. Okay, let's get into this trilogy set here. Let me put it this way. This trilogy set apparently is so controversial, I have to put in my birth date in order to get details about it. Let's see, when was I born? There you are. Okay. So, I had to verify my age in order to go to the website's page about this. So, this is the 2551 trilogy, 4-disc deluxe limited edition. So I have no idea what this is about. Not a clue in the world. So we're going to learn this together. So imagine Mad Max run amok in the Muta Museum, a nightmarish subterranean world of superstition, magic, and deformity, ruled by fear and oppression and peopled with a spine-chilling assortment of mutants and and masked monstrosities, including faceless stormtroopers, parasites, nude figures, taxidermied monkeys, alchemists, and other occult horrors. Welcome to the unearthly visions of Austrian artist and director Norbert, oh boy, Pfaffenbichler's 2551 trilogy, a staggering combination of avant-garde cinema, post-apocalyptic sci-fi horror / monster action, dystopian political nightmares, silent cinema techniques. All three features are told without dialogue with different color tinting. Endless subterranean labyrinths shot in abandoned World War II bunkers in Vienna, myriad grotesque masks, industrial and death metal music. The bros Quay and Jan Svachmacher and Joel Peter Whitkin and David Lynch all mixed together. Definitely not for the faint of heart. This is the experimental filmmaking for fans of Silent Hill, Hellboy 2, Eraserhead, Mad God, and Begotten. Oh, The Cure, Bauhaus, and Metallica, Lucha Libre, and unbelievably Charlie Chaplin. In other words, it's like nothing you've ever seen or dreamt before. Okay, I'll be honest with all of you. I tried to find these movies to watch. These aren't streaming anywhere. These are not the movies you can find to stream. These aren't the movies you can find to watch anywhere. These are movies you have to find through physical media, seemingly so. Or man, if you're film school has them or anything like that. Baffling collection of stuff that Deaf Crocodile continues to put out that is just unseen, unheard of, archival things. So I tip my hat, if I was wearing one, which I'm not, to them for putting out this type of stuff. So this is the 2551 trilogy, or 2551 trilogy. I literally have no idea how to say it because I've never heard of this before, but I'm curious beyond all belief to watch it. This is my type of stuff. Just the movies of avant-garde absurdity, of surrealism, of things that make absolutely no sense. That is my type of stuff. So that is it for Deaf Crocodile, Alron, and The Student of Prague, that double feature. And we got the 2551 trilogy set as well. I'm not sure when these are coming out. They are available to pre-order on their website, as well as okay. So I guess it's coming out maybe later this year. It just says this item is included in the current July through December of 2025 subscription. If you are a subscriber, only order if you want an additional copy. Okay, so I guess it's coming out sometime before the end of the year. Actually, it says it right here. I am dumb as heck. I should probably read these things before I start saying stuff. This is a pre-order scheduled to release on or near 10/28, so October 28th. And then the 2551 trilogy or 2051 trilogy, the same thing. Scheduled to release on or near 1028. Alrighty then. Now we will be going over to Second Sight. So, Second Sight is putting out their own versions of two movies we all know of, or at least many of us do. That will be Pearl and Maxine, the second and third film in the X trilogy, if you will, or the Pearl trilogy. I don't even know what we're calling it, to be quite honest. All I know is that I already have all three of the movies, including these two, obviously. So I don't really need these releases, but it's Second Sight, and they put out such great stuff that I almost want to get them, but I without having X, it's an incomplete trilogy, and that stuff just drives my OCD insane. So this is the Ty West trilogy of movies that have come out over the last few years that I know I've talked about a bunch of times. I know all of you, many of you listening, own already, seen already. So it's X, Pearl, and then Maxine. Those are the three movies. People were commenting on when this was announced, is X going to be coming later, or why couldn't you get X? And basically Second Sight said they weren't able to license it. So they weren't able to get it to put it out. Like I said, with my OCD, getting Pearl and Maxine without having X as a Second Sight release would drive me crazy. It would drive me crazy. So let's get into it here. Specifically special feature wise, because so Pearl is kind of the prequel to X, if you will. I don't need to explain the movie. Many of you have seen it. So, presented in HDR with Dolby Vision and Dolby Atmos. New audio commentary by Alexandra Heller-Nicholas. Damn it. Right off the bat, it already has an extra feature that I want. Bold choices, a new interview with director Ty West. The Mother, a new interview with actor Tandy Wright. Absorb the Aesthetic, a new interview with director of photography Elliot Rocket. Going Technicolor, a new interview with production designer Tom Hammock. Hollywood Goes West, a video essay by Joe Wallace. Coming Out of Her Shell, and then Time After Time. For the interest of my sanity, let me check what we got here. So for Pearl on Blu-ray. Keep in mind, we only ever got Pearl on Blu-ray here. We never got a 4K release of this, and I believe this edition is, it's in 4K. Okay, so that's already an upgrade. Yes, for special features, we got Coming Out of Her Shell, Time After Time, and that's it. So we got 2 features on the Blu-ray here. That's it. Okay. Let's see. For Maxine, these are coming out November 17th, I think. Yeah, November 17th, both of them. So Maxine, which we did get in 4K here, so that's kind of nice. Presented in HDR with Dolby Vision and Dolby Atmos. New audio commentary by Bill Ackerman and Amanda Reyes. Back to the Blank Page, a new interview with director Ty West. Money on the Screen, a new interview with producer Jacob Jaffe. B-Movie Aesthetic, a new interview with director of photography Elliot Rocket. Curating Space, a new audio interview with production designer Jason Kisvardi. The Whole World's Gonna Know My Name, Cat Hughes on Maxine. The Belly of the Beast, XX Marks the Spot, Hollywood is a Killer, and a Q&A with Ty West. So both of these have coming with a standard edition and then a deluxe limited edition slipcase version with a 120-page book and the usual kind of fanfare like that. It's a 120-page book, 6 collectible art cards for Pearl, and for Maxine, we have a 120-page book and 6 collectible art cards as well. Now, just for the sake of my sanity, let me check to see what Maxine got here in terms of special features. Let's see. So Maxine here got the Belly of the Beast special feature, and then XX Marks the Spot, and then Hollywood is a Killer, and a Q&A with director Ty West. So we've got some things here, but obviously Second Sight does always usually add their own unique special features, which they did in this case. So I don't know. It really all depends on how big of a fan you are of these movies, how big of a fan you are of Second Sight. I'm a big fan of Second Sight and what they do, but like I said, I already own the movies, and they're not putting out X, so that that makes my OCD go a little crazy. So that's that. Let me go back to where I was before. So that is it for Second Sight. I know there's a release from Flickr Alley that I want to check out. Let me go to Flickr Alley's website. Oh, there it is. Exactly what I was looking for. So Laurel and Hardy Year 3. So following the acclaimed Laurel and Hardy Year 1 and Laurel and Hardy Year 2 collections, Flickr Alley and Black Hawk Films are proud to announce the culmination of the duo's silent years. Laurel and Hardy Year 3 brings to Blu-ray um, brings to Blu-ray disc 9 of Laurel and Hardy's most beloved classic shorts, newly restored and joined by a host of rare archival materials, and also includes several of their earliest sound films. Unparalleled in their ability to adapt to the changing of the cinematic landscape, Laurel and Hardy's upward trajectory was only bolstered by the arrival of sound. Their first sound short, appropriately titled "Unaccustomed," as we are, begins to incorporate sync sound gags and was so well received by audiences that the duo would go on to win the Academy Award for the Music Box just a few years later, an impressively rare feat for the time. So the restored shorts on this collection of Laurel and Hardy Year 3 are Liberty, Wrong Again, That's My Wife, Big Business, Unaccustomed as We Are, Double Whoopee, Birthmarks, Bacon Grabbers, and then Angora Love. And these are all from 1929. Coincidentally, I believe that Classic Flicks is putting out a volume 1 set of early 30s Laurel and Hardy stuff, so their sound era stuff. I think that was just announced today. So keep that in the back of your mind. So each film has newly recorded scores from some of the best silent film composers working today. A fascinating historical glimpse into a rapidly evolving cinematic landscape. Laurel and Hardy, Year 3, delivers timelessly hilarious gags as undeniably funny today as they were nearly 100 years ago. So there's audio commentary tracks for each film. There's additional musical scores. Laurel and Hardy on Location Year 3, a video essay by historian John Bankston on selected location exteriors. They Go Boom, the Huskow, and the Unaccustomed as We Are, 3 bonus full sound shorts from late 1929. The Hollywood Review of 1929 excerpt, Spanish version of Birthmarks, dubbed version of Double Whoopee, MGM Convention 1930 announcement, film-specific image galleries, souvenir booklet. Yeah, this is a nice set. This is coming out November 11th. If you're a silent film fan, if you love Laurel and Hardy, these sets are really, really good. Yeah, Flickr Alley does really great work with a lot of older things. I know they work a lot with the Film Noir Foundation, which is which is Eddie Muller's company, and they put out a lot of things like that, a lot of deep archive film noirs. They put out all kinds of stuff, really good things, especially from the silent era. They just put out that movie, He Who Gets Slapped, which is fantastic. They put out a box set called Champagne and Caviar, which is 4 Weimar Republic comedies. The Weimar Republic being the government of Germany in between World War I and World War II. Well, mostly World War I and then the 1930s. They put out a bunch of Charlie Chaplin shorts, just good stuff. Good stuff from Flickr Alley. I want to make sure to mention that. So there's a couple of other things here. Howard's End. Okay, let me go over to look up so Howard's End is a James Ivory film. Howard's End got a Blu-ray release back in 2009 by Criterion. It got a Blu-ray release in 2016 by Cohen Media Group, and now it's getting a 4K release by the Cohen Media Group in November, on November 18th. So Howard's End, like I said, is a Merchant Ivory production. It's a James Ivory directed film. It's it's a movie that I really like. Starring Anthony Hopkins, Vanessa Redgrave, Helena Bonham Carter, Emma Thompson. It's a early, I think it's early 20th century period piece. A saga of relations and changing times in Edwardian England. Yeah, so Edwardian England is the period of English history from 1901 to 1910, when you guessed it, there was a king named Edward. so, um, so yes, the film centers on liberal Margaret Schlegel, Emma Thompson, who, along with her sister Helena Bonham Carter, become involved with two couples: wealthy conservative industrialist Henry Wilcox, Anthony Hopkins, and his wife Ruth, Vanessa Redgrave, and the downwardly mobile working class Leonard Bast, who's portrayed by Samuel West, and his mistress Jackie, portrayed by Nicola Duffett. The interwoven fate and misfortune of these three families and the diverging trajectories of the two sisters' lives are connected to the ownership of Howard's End, the dying Ruth's beloved country home. It's interesting that this movie is titled after a house called Howard's End, and Howard's End actually does not play a big role in the movie itself. You have to see the movie to understand what I'm saying, for the fascination of it all. But incredibly well acted film. You have some elite acting going on here. If you love dramatic period pieces, this is your thing. If you're fans of, let's say, Downton Abbey or something like that, this is your stuff. It's definitely your stuff. Let's see. Disc one is the 4K disc, 4K restoration of the movie, audio commentary by film critics Wade Major and Leo Lowenstein. Disc 2 is the Blu-ray of the movie, same 4K restoration, same audio commentary. Disc 3 is special features. Returning to Howard's End, James Ivory in conversation with Lawrence Kardish, interview with James Ivory and Vanessa Redgrave, Q&A with James Ivory, a 1992 behind-the-scenes featurette, building Howard's End, the design of Howard's End, James Ivory remembers Ishmael Merchant, and then original theatrical trailer and the 2016 re-release trailer. So I've been wanting to buy this Blu-ray for 9 years, and now it's getting released in 4K. So now I have my renewed opportunity to buy it. We call that collector's redemption, people. Collector's redemption. Yeah, it's definitely worth owning. I was kind of holding out hope that perhaps Criterion would get the rights back and re-release their Blu-ray, which is long out of print, but it doesn't look like that's going to be the case. So get this edition while you can. I heard the Blu-ray looked phenomenal back when it came out in 2016, so I assume that this 4K is going to look even better. And Cohen Media Group does really good work when it comes to the picture quality of their movies. I have a couple of their things in my collection. I've got, I think I've got 4 volumes of their Buster Keaton collection, plus a couple of other movies here and there. So they do really good work. They're kind of a subsidiary of Kino now, so you'll find a lot of their stuff embedded in the Kino sales that they have on their website. So let's see what else we've got. I think I'm going to go to Eureka and then Arrow, and then we'll be done. Okay, Eureka, then Arrow, then done. Let's see. Let me go over to where I was before. I gotta scroll back to Eureka. Yeah, so Eureka only has 2 December releases, just 2. One is a box set, and one is just a single release. So the box set is called Triple Threat: 3 films with Sammo Hung. Let's see. Let me see what the 3 films are. So we've got the Manchu Boxer. Hold on. They're let's see. We have the Manchu Boxer, Paper Marriage, and Shanghai Shanghai. These are coming out December 9th in the US and December 8th in the UK. And then we've got a single release, which is of the movie Apache, starring Burt Lancaster as as a whitewashed indigenous person. We'll get to that in a second. It's a movie directed by Robert Aldrich. But the triple threat three films with Sammo Hung. Let's see. Yeah, I didn't get to see any of these movies, so I don't have much to say about them. Um, let's see. In Wuma's The Manchu Boxer, Hong, who doubles as the film's fight choreographer, plays the villainous foil to a roaming martial artist who enters a boxing tournament to defeat a gang of bandits. Then in the action comedy Paper Marriage, Hong stars as down on his luck Chinese boxer living in Canada who is paid to marry an immigrant from Hong Kong, who happens to be Maggie Chung. Okay. She wants to gain Canadian citizenship, but he just wants to keep the loan sharks off his back. Finally, in Shanghai, Shanghai, a young man, Wen Bao, it goes looking for his brother, a police officer in the big city, and also finds himself embroiled with a ruthless gangster played by, you guessed it, Sammo Hung. All right, so for special features for this triple feature box set, we've got brand new 2K restorations of the original Hong Kong theatrical cuts of all three films. Bonus disc exclusive to this set only is a 1080p presentations from brand new 2K restorations of the extended international versions of The Manchu Boxer and Shanghai Shanghai. Got original mono audio tracks, optional English dubs, optional English subtitles, newly translated for this release. New audio commentary on The Manchu Boxer with East Asian expert, uh, film expert, Frank Zhang, and martial artist and filmmaker Michael Worth. New audio commentary on Paper Marriage with genre film experts on Venema and Domani Ting. New commentary on Shanghai Shanghai with Frank Zhang and producer slash writer F.J. DeSanto. New interview with Paper Marriage director Alfred Chung. And that's it. Next is the movie Apache, directed by Robert Aldrich. Robert Aldrich, I'm pretty sure many of you have seen a Robert Aldrich movie. Whatever Happened to Baby Jane, that's Robert Aldrich. Um, The Dirty Dozen, that's another Robert Aldrich film. Let's see. Following the surrender of Geronimo to the United States Cavalry, Masai, who's portrayed by Burt Lancaster, becomes the last remaining Apache warrior. So you have Burt Lancaster as an Apache warrior. Keep in mind, this movie came out in 1954. Yeah, this movie came out in 1954. Okay, so let's roll with it. Hollywood has been uh, whitewashing characters forever. So after, yeah, after he is captured by the American military and put on a prison train to be forcibly resettled on a reservation in Florida, all seems lost, but Masai manages to escape his captors and sets out to return home where he hopes to settle down with Nalinel and farm the land. But as the frontier shrinks rapidly by the day, returning to his homeland will not be so easy. One of the earliest westerns to feature a sympathetic Native American protagonist fighting back against the white settlers who swept across the United States throughout the 19th century, Aldrich's first western is a landmark film in the history of the genre, I guess. The Masters of Cinema series is proud to present Apache for the first time on Blu-ray in the UK. So, for special features, high definition transfer, uncompressed original monaural audio, the Story of Masai, new interview with Austin Fisher, author of Radical Frontiers in the Spaghetti Western. The Last Sunset in Veracruz, new interview with film historian Sheldon Hall on Robert Aldrich and the Western. Okay. Um, what's crazy is I have a Robert Aldrich section in my collection. So if I ever want to complete it, I need to get this movie. And this movie is actually not bad. Whitewashing aside of Burt Lancaster as an indigenous person, it looks as ridiculous as you are imagining it in your head. It's because of the times, because of the times. There's another Robert Aldrich film that I want to recommend to people. I think he did the movie Kiss Me Deadly. Let me look it up. He also did The Flight of the Phoenix from 1965, which is very good. Hush Hush Sweet Charlotte. That had a Twilight Time Blu-ray release several years ago. That needs another release, in my opinion, because that's a really good movie. Let's see. Yeah, he did. He did Kiss Me Deadly, he did The Big Knife, he did the movie Veracruz. Yeah, I'm just looking up some of his other stuff. Okay, let me move on from there. So that is it for Eureka. It's only 2 releases. It's Triple Threat, 3 films with Sammo Hung and Apache. That is it. So now we move on to the grand finale of it all. Yeah, we'll move on to Arrow. 'Cause I don't think I've got anything else to talk about. I did, let's see, we just did Eureka. I've done Umbrella. Imprint we talked about. Kino we talked about. Deaf Crocodile we talked about. Sandpiper we talked about. Cohen Media. Second Sight. Flicker Alley. All right, let's go over to Arrow because they are having their December titles. Now, I've got to go actually to Arrow's website proper to get a list of proper special features for the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles trilogy set because the Blu-ray.com post does not have them. Well, they have them, but they just don't have all the details. So there is 2 different versions of the trilogy set. Well, a couple of different versions. If you want the 4K or the Blu-ray like I do, there is an Arrow Store exclusive 4K and an Arrow Store exclusive Blu-ray of them, and the difference being is, I believe, the artwork on the box. This is killing me here. So, okay, I've got to go someplace else because they don't even have the full listing on. So, hold on, I gotta go. Now I gotta think where I should go. You know what? You know where I'm gonna go. So they said that they were going to list the full special features on September 26th. I went to the Blu-ray.com post, said the same thing, and then there's the page on their website says the same thing as well. And if I look at my calendar, it's the 29th. Where is the full list of special features? So let me go over to their Facebook page to see if they posted it there. If not, I don't have much to say about it because we've already talked about the set. So let me go over to Arrow Video's Facebook page and see what's cooking over there. If not, I can go try our friend Just the Discs, our friend Ryan Verrill, because he usually lists off everything. But he's usually just reposting what the companies post. So if the companies haven't posted, I am. Let's see. Okay, they're just showing that. Let me see. Okay. I'm a little stumped here because, yeah, the website doesn't have. Hey, good. Let me actually go do what I was going to do. Let me go check out the Disconnected to see if he's got a list of the special features. I mean, there are some special features listed, but it's not all of them. And I thought that by now we would get a full list of them. I can go to places like Diabolic and see if they've got the full listing, but I don't know how much. I don't know how much patience you guys have for just to watch me go and look for this. So I will not be taking up too much of our time as I scroll down the Disconnected to last Friday, which is when they announced these. Let me see. There's the Eureka pre-orders. Let's see. Bum. Got some other pre-orders here. Oh, there we go. Release details. Okay. There we go. This is what I was looking for. This isn't even on their website. Thank you, Ryan Verrill over at the Disconnected, for posting these, because this is not even listed on the Arrow Video website. So, coming on December 15th in the UK and December 16th in North America on 4K and Blu-ray with an Arrow Video website exclusive art variant. So it's just the artwork on the outside that's the exclusive to the Arrow Video store. To be honest, I like the regular art. The regular art is the movie poster, which I always love when they do the movie posters. This is straight from my childhood. Back in the day, The VHS had the movie poster. It's all the turtles. They're opening up the manhole cover and they're all looking out. It's perfect, absolutely perfect. So 3 disc 4K Ultra HD limited edition contents. I'll be honest, I've said it when this was announced, and I'll say it right here. This is my most anticipated release of the year. This release means everything to me. This really means everything to me. So, brand new 4K restoration of all 3 films by Arrow Films, 4K Ultra HD Blu-ray presentations in Dolby Vision with HDR compatibility of all 3 films, perfect bound collector's booklet in the style of a Roy's Pizza menu, featuring new writing on the films by Simon Ward, John Torani, and John Walsh, reversible sleeve featuring original and newly commissioned artwork by Flory, double-sided fold-out poster featuring original artwork from Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, and the map of the Capital Realm, a stylized recreation of the ancient scroll that appears in Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles 3, 2 additional double-sided fold-out posters featuring original and newly commissioned artwork by Flory, 8 character trading cards, Roy's Pizza loyalty card, 4 character stickers as well. So, our friend who's been on Chasing Labels at least 4 times. Our friend Scott Saslow worked on this release, as I mentioned that before, but now that all the details are out, he is the one. He worked on the layout, the booklet design, and the creation of the Roy's loyalty card and the trading cards. That's all our friend Scott Saslow. He did all of that. So special shout out to Scott for all that work that he did. Um, uh, so let's see. I lost my place. Okay, so disc 1 is the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles 1990 movie. This is the big one for me. It's my favorite Turtles movie ever. It's the one I watched over and over as a kid. I would reenact this movie while watching it as like a 3-4 year old kid. So you get a 4K restoration of the film from the original camera negative by Arrow Films, approved by director Steve Barron. 2 lossless stereo mixes, original theatrical mix, and alternate Warrior mix. I don't know what the heck that is. Plus newly remixed Dolby Atmos audio, optional English subs for the deaf and hard of hearing. Let's see what else we've got. New audio commentary with director Steve Barron, new commentary with comic expert and podcast host Dave Baxter. Rising When We Fall, new interview with director Steve Barron. Turtle Talk, new interview with actors Robbie Rist, Brian Taki, Ernie Reyes Jr., and Ken Scott. O'Neill on the Beat, new interview with actor Judith Hogue. Wet Behind the Shells, new interview with producer Simon Fields. Beneath the Shell, new interview with puppet coordinator and second unit director Brian Henson and Rob Tigner, puppeteer for both Splinter and Leonardo. Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles Turf, new featurette exploring the film's location in New York City and North Carolina. Alternate UK version with unique footage prepared for censorship reasons. Interesting. I don't know what they censored. Presented in 4K via seamless branching, alternate ending from the VHS work print, alternate Korean footage, and then theatrical trailers and image gallery. That's all just for the first movie. Oh, I'm tired. Then, Disc 2, Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles 2, The Secret of the Ooze. 4K restoration of the film from the 35mm interpositive by Arrow Films. I'm actually surprised there isn't an original camera negative. I mean, the movie came out in 1991. It would have been, I would assume it would have been relatively preserved. It was a big hit of a movie. Maybe just over time they lost the negative and they just can't find it. I don't think it was destroyed, or maybe it was just in such bad shape they couldn't do anything with it. I'm curious behind that. I'm trying to think if I know somebody who works at Arrow that could tell me about that. I may. Anywho, I just find that fascinating. Because these were big popular movies. You'd think their stuff would be, like I said, well preserved. Anywho, original lossless stereo audio and optional DTS Master 5.1 surround audio, optional English dubs for the deaf and hard of hearing, new commentary with director Michael Pressman, moderated by filmmaker Jillian Wallace Horvath, John Duprez to the rescue, new interview with composer of the trilogy Don Duprez, Hardcores, new interview with Kenny Wilson, mold shop supervisor at Jim Henson's Creature Shop, The Secret of the Edit, new interview with editor Steve Murkovich. Behind the Shells, an archival featurette from 1991. and then theatrical trailer and image gallery. And then you got the third film, Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles 3, 4K restoration of the film from the 35 millimeter interpositive by Arrow Films. Once again, the interpositive. Let's see. Yeah, the first film had the original camera negative. The second and third had the interpositive. Okay. Original lossless stereo audio and optional DTS HD master audio, HD master 5.1 surround, optional English subs for the deaf and hard of hearing, new commentary with director Stuart Gillard, Damios and Demons, new interview with actor Saab Shimono, Rebel, new interview with actor Vivian Wu, alternate UK opening, theatrical trailer, and image gallery. I saw the third movie in the theater because I didn't see the first movie in the theater because it came out when I was 3 years old. I didn't see the second movie in the theater in 91. And I saw both of them on VHS. The third movie, it came out in 1993, and I was 6 years old. And I saw that movie in the theater, I think 3 times. I want to say 3 times. I just kept going back to it, as you know, over and over again. Then I had it on VHS, and I watched it over and over again. And I know that the third movie is considered the worst of the 3 for many reasons. The costumes look the worst. The plot is kind of ridiculous. Coincidentally, it's kind of straight out of the comics. It's the most comic booky of the 3. And the second movie has basically a nightclub dance sequence with Vanilla Ice. But the third movie is the most comic booky. The first movie is my favorite because of how closely related it is to the original comic book, and also how it incorporates the elements from the 1987 TV series, the animated series, which was massive. I cannot stress to people how big the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles were in the late 80s and into the 90s. If you were a kid growing up in that era, chances are you were obsessed with the Turtles. There's a good chance. If you were at that right age, I was, like I said, 3 to 6 years old when these movies came out. By that point, I had the action figures. I had the Halloween costume. I had, like I said, the toys. I think I even had a had a Turtles bedspread. The comforter set. I would even have, Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles birthday themed parties where you would hire somebody dressed as a giant Ninja Turtle to come and entertain the kids. Like, I even had that. I can't stress to you people how big it was at the time. It was a phenomena. It really was. And the franchise exists all the way up to this day, which is kind of amazing to me because things do fade over time, but not the Turtles. They just kind of reincarnate and reinvigorate, and they've been part of so many people's generation. Me being a millennial, then Gen Z, now Gen Alpha. Um, um, yeah, it just goes on and on. They're still making stuff to this day, but this set here is, a dream come true. It really, really is. It's something that I've been waiting for a long time. Let's see. We do have some comments here that I've been neglecting to talk about. Unfortunately, no. Let me go. So, Acres and Movies popped back in and asked, any new Jackie Brown features? Unfortunately, no. Unfortunately, everything that you get on this release here is the same exact special features that come with the Imprint release. To go back to answer your question there, and I'm pretty sure it's the same with the Blu-ray. Yeah, so everything that's on here is on the Imprint release. It says, do you like Armed and Dangerous? Now I have to see if I've seen Armed and Dangerous. It's a good thing. Let's see. So I've never seen Armed and Dangerous, the John Candy film. So I obviously can't answer that whether I like it or not because I haven't seen it. So, do you have a favorite character actor. There are a lot of great character actors that I really, really like. And let me see. To me, I consider like Harry Dean Stanton, great character actor. Although he's led a couple of movies, Steve Buscemi is kind of the same way. Great character actor. J.K. Simmons, great character actor. I would even say John Carroll Lynch. John Carroll Lynch is a great character actor. I mean, he's got that one scene in the movie Zodiac, which everybody talks about to this day. To this day. Let me see a couple of other ones. John Turturro. I'm just looking up character actors to be honest. Um, Back in the day, Walter Brennan, Claude Rains. To get a little more classic, Peter Lorre. To me, also like James Cromwell. James Cromwell is a great character actor. Who was a couple of other ones? Like, would you consider Gary Sinise a character actor? I also consider George Sanders is a great, in my opinion, character actor. Even someone like Lee J. Cobb, great character actor, in my opinion. Let's see, Dylan Baker was great. Uh, yeah, some of those guys. Let's see, a couple other comments here. Do you want a movie about the origins of the refrigeration? It's interesting, actually, how long refrigerators have been around, or the I think the first like in-home refrigerator is like over 100 happened over 100 years ago. Yeah, why not? I love like that type of stuff. What movie characters would be on your blue collar worker Mount Rushmore? Let me see. When I think blue collar workers, I always think of TV characters. Let's see. I don't know. That's a tough question. I always think of more TV. I think of the movie Blue Collar, to be honest. Um, Interesting. You know what? Just off the top of my head, Wages of Fear. I was thinking about Wages of Fear the other day, because I rewatched Sorcerer like a month or two ago. I rewatched Sorcerer, so I was automatically thinking of Wages of Fear. That, those are like that's like that's those are like that's a tough job, and that's a really really tough job. Um, I don't know. That's a tough question. That's a really tough question. See, I don't think I've ever seen. See if I've seen Boiling Point. Because the movie's asks if I've seen the movie Boiling Point and if I like it or not. Let's see, Boiling Point. I think of the movie Boiler Room, which is a movie no one ever talks about. Oh, okay. So this is the movie with Wesley Snipes and Dennis Hopper. I don't think I've seen it, but I've heard of it. I've not seen it. I've got to check it out. Let's see. Sorry, I'm not very helpful. Let's see. Acres of Movie says, "What 80s or 90s RPG video games would you like to see as a movie?" Um, Legend of Zelda. To this day, Legend of Zelda. They've been teasing us about doing something with Legend of Zelda now for many, many years, and nothing has really come of it. I know they're working on something to do with Netflix. I heard a little rumored about lately that they were casting for live action Zelda. Yeah, so Zelda will be it. I mean, Mario, they've already done live action, and it's it's not great, but it's considered a cult classic for crazy reasons. Um, there's, but other than the 80s or 90s, I know they've. Let's see. Um, yeah, this. So I mean, other RPGs, World of Warcraft. They tried to make a World of Warcraft movie, and it didn't quite work, which was a shame because I thought it was pretty decent. But yet again, I think you have to be really inside baseball to kind of appreciate that movie. I mean, Minecraft just became a massive, massive financial hit. kind of out of nowhere. I mean, the youth movement propelled that movie to damn near $1 billion. Like it was a massive hit. Let's see. Do you have a favorite comedy camping scene in movies? Um, I mean, there's that scene in Blazing Saddles, which is kind of funny. There's also some scenes in City Slickers that are really good. This is completely probably not in line with your question, but the movie Camp Nowhere. I love the movie Camp Nowhere. Uh, because it just this idea of kids running their own summer camp away from their parents was like a kid's dream when I was growing up. Let's see. Do you have a favorite comedy scene in the movie where the person is now down in the dumps after they've lost everything? Sure. Let's see. I can't pull these out of my hat. Down in the dumps after they lost everything. There's a lot of those scenes. Let's see. Hold on. The thing is, like, all of those movies with that premise tend to be dramas. You know what's interesting? I got it. The end of Office Space. The end of Office Space. I don't want to give away the ending, but let's just say the way where Ron Livingston's character ends up at the end of Office Space. Yeah, that's a good one. Do you have a favorite comedy montage in a movie where the hero or person and it is leading the people in an unconventional way? I just mentioned Camp Nowhere. There's kind of where the kids are kind of leading themselves. Um, let's see. What was that? I'm trying to think of. There was that. I'm looking over at my comedies actually. I don't know if it's so much a group of people. There's the movie Man of the Year with Robin Williams when he's running for president. I mean, that's basically leading people. Um, I think that's an underrated Robin Williams movie that nobody talks about. And considering that how crazy our political times have become, I feel like that's a movie people should go back to. Uh, so yeah, there's that. Let's see. I think that's it. Yeah, that's it for catching up on the comments. But let me catch up on the other Arrow releases. So, House with Laughing Windows getting a 4K release. This is a giallo film. This is a giallo film that is kind of nuts. It's kind of nuts. Came out in 1976. It's directed by Pupi Avati. Let's see. Well, while typically famed for its lurid Technicolor hues and grand Gunal murders, the Italian giallo thriller had a less bombastic side as well, erring less towards exploitation than to art. These lesser seen gems offer some of the greatest rewards for the adventurous viewers among them. 1976, The House with Laughing Windows, directed and co-written by Pupi Avati, rises up as the cream of the crop. Art restorer Stefano arrives at an isolated Italian village to repair a fresco depicting the agonizing martyrdom of Saint Sebastian. The original painter was a death artist, a madman so obsessed with mortality that, according to whispered rumors, he tortured his models in their final moments of life. When people begin to turn up dead, Stefano is forced to consider the possibility that the artist has returned to continue his brutal career and that he is the primary target. Yeah, this movie is way more atmospheric than typical giallo films. And giallo films are typically atmospheric, but I feel like this one was just way creepier because it was kind of blending in the supernatural, which is not typically part of giallo. I know there's a lot of arguments about what's giallo, what's not giallo. Is that a giallo? Is that not a giallo? People argue about this stuff all the time. I don't get into any of that. But I'm just saying this movie leans way more towards something like Suspiria, which I really love a lot. That's That's a movie I love. So this leads more into like Suspiria, which is my kind of jam. So that's why I really like this movie. So The House with Laughing Windows 4K release is getting a 4K restoration from the original camera negative, graded by Arrow Films, HDR presentation of the film, restored original lossless mono Italian audio track, newly translated optional English subtitles, brand new audio commentary by critics Alexandra Heller Nicholas and Josh Nelson, brand new audio commentary by critics Eugenio Ercolani and Troy Hallworth, brand new audio commentary by feature-length documentary on the film directed by Federico Cadeo, featuring interviews with co-writer slash co-director Pupi Avati, co-writer Antonio Avati, assistant director Cesar Bastelli, actors, it's everybody. I can't go. There's a ton of people in this here. Um, yeah, so this feature-length documentary is massive. La Casa es Sola, a brand new visual essay by critic Chris Alexander. The Art of Suffering, a brand new visual essay by Kat Ellinger, our friend. Anytime Kat Ellinger and you got Alexander Helen Nicholas on something, it's worth a watch. Worth a watch. And also worth a buy. Worth a buy. So, moving on from there, these are all coming out in December, actually. We have City on Fire. I was just talking earlier about the Hong Kong Cinema Classics line from Shout Factory and how I was waiting for Arrow to put out their own versions of these movies. Here we go. City on Fire, which has already come out from Shout Factory. Arrow's putting out their version of City on Fire, the Ringo Lam film starring Chow Yun Fat. Let's see. I've already talked about the movies. I won't talk about the synopsis of it, but I do want to get into the special features are actually similar. I think they're actually kind of the same. So 4K restoration of the film, Dolby Vision / HDR presentation of the film, original lossless Cantonese and English mono audio, brand new audio commentary by Hong Kong cinema experts Frank Zhang and FJ DeSanto. Burn It Down, a brand new interview with screenwriter Tommy Sham. We also have optional English subtitles as well. Hong Kong Confidential, a brand new appreciation by author Grady Hendrix. Some Like It Hot, a brand new appreciation by film historian Rick Myers. Burning Rivalries, a brand new appreciation by critic Kim Newman. An archival interview with director Ringo Lam. Portrait of Anger, an archive interview with cinematographer Andrew Lau. Long Arm of the Law, an archive interview with co-star Roy Chung, and then theatrical trailer. Let me quickly go over to check the City on Fire release from Shout Factory to see if we've got any different and special features. Let's see. So you got the same audio commentary by Frank Zhang and FJ DeSanto. You got the Burn It Down featurette, the Hong Kong Confidentials featurette, that's on both. The Some Like It Hot featurette feature is on both. Let's see, Burning Rivalries is on both. Okay, those are all on both. And then, let's see. You do not get the archival stuff. That's the main difference. So the Arrow release has the archival interview with Ringo Lam, the Portrait of Anger, an archival interview with the cinematographer, the Long Arm of the Law, which is an archive interview with co-star Roy Chung. Those are all on the Arrow release, and those are not on the Shout Factory release. Okay? That's the main difference. So you get everything that's on the Shout Factory release, plus a couple little extra special features. Sorry, I couldn't remember the word special feature. Yes. Okay. Another main difference that people were waiting for was better cover art, better slipcover art, which we are getting. We are getting some elite looking slipcover art by Tony Stella. Tony Stella, who we interviewed here on Chasing Labels once upon a time, he does amazing artwork for movie releases and just amazing artwork in general. So he is doing the cover art for the slipcover. So it looks fantastic. Next, let's go over to let's go over next. Let's talk about Wild Style. So Wild Style is considered the first hip hop movie. It's the first movie kind of featuring and about hip hop. Came out in 1983. And let's see. In this unique hybrid of fiction and documentary, the story of lone graffiti artist Lee Zorro Kifon's trying to achieve success on his own terms is brought to vivid life with support by Fred Fab Five Freddy, Braithwaite, Sandra Lady Pink, Fabara, and Patty Astor, and the historic music performances by such luminaries as Grandmaster Flash, Buzzy B, the Fantastic Five, the Cold Crush Brothers, and the Rocksteady Crew. To create the score, Chris Stein would collaborate with Brainwave to produce the actual breakbeats to be used in the film, and inspired an inspired decision that would provide a source of obsession among crate diggers for decades to come. So yeah, this movie is basically kind of like part documentary, part fictional story, but it's mostly just an exposition of incredible music. It really is. If you're into hip hop, if you're into the origins of hip hop, the all of that stuff, this movie will definitely feed that need. It's really kind of cool just from that perspective. Amazing soundtrack, of course. The story itself is kind of irrelevant and secondary. To be honest, I kind of lost track of the story while watching it and was just here bopping to the music. I really was. I do also want to say that I think our friend Scott Saslow also worked on this release as well. Yeah, he did the layout and the booklet design for it. So another shout out to him and doing all this cool work. So let's see what we've got here for special features. Let's see. So, Perfect Bound Collector's Book featuring new and archival essays and articles. Reversible sleeve featuring two original artwork options. Double sided fold out poster featuring two original artwork options. Exclusive mini version of the Wild Style issue of Hip Hop Family Tree comic by Ed Piskor. Three Wild Style logo stickers. Disc one. This is a This is a 3 disc set. There's a new 4K restoration from the original 16mm negative by Arrow Films, Dolby Vision and HDR presentation of the film, newly restored original lossless mono audio, optional English audio subtitles, brand new audio commentary with Jeff Chairman Mao and Andrew Monk One Mason, legendary commentary featuring director Charlie Ahern and Fred Fab Five Freddie Braithwaite, Down by Law creating the music of Wild Style, a brand new interview with Charlie Ahern, Chris Stein, and Fred Fab by Freddie Braithwaite. Let's see, disc two is the Blu-ray, which is, I believe, just special features. The original story, an interview with Lee Quignon and Fred Fab by Freddie Braithwaite. Studio Benchmark, an interview with Lee Quinons. Um, Archival footage from Wild Style's 1983 Japanese tour, two-panel discussion, and footage from the Wild Style 40 exhibition. ZDF TV Wild Style 30th Anniversary Featurette, Ramalazi in the Battle Station Featurette, features from the Wild Style 20th, 25th, and 30th Anniversary shows, Smith Project Gym 1977, archival featurettes and interviews from the players and performers of Wild Style, outtakes, Subway rap music video, 2025 restoration, and theatrical trailers. And the third disc is a CD. It's got music. It's got music. So there is also, I think, let me check. I think there's a store exclusive of, let me go check. I think it's a store exclusive where you can get a record. A record of, let's see. Yeah, there is. Yeah, there's a UK and US Wild Style limited edition LP bundle. I don't even think it's an exclusive. So you can get a record. Let's see. Yeah, there's a record that comes with it. That's kind of cool. And I just wanted to make sure to mention that. So let's see. So Shawscope Volume 4. I didn't get to watch any of these movies, so I'm just going to kind of read off. Actually, let me go to, where am I? Let me go to the Arrow website. See if I can find. Yeah, I'm not gonna go through all the special features because I will be here until, well, it's already nearly midnight, so I'm already in the next day. But let me read off the movies at least. So, like I said, 12. Let me see how many discs we've got here. So 16 movies. There's 16 movies on 10 discs. That's interesting. 16 movies on 10 discs, and the movies are Super Inframan, The Oily Maniac, the the Battle Wizard, Black Magic, Black Magic 2, Hex, Bewitched, Hex vs. Witchcraft, Hex After Hex, Bat Without Wings, Bloody Parrot, The Fake Ghost Catchers, Demon of the Loot, Seeding of a Ghost, Portrait in Crystal, and then Twinkle Twinkle Little Star. Now, going over to the Arrow website, it looks like each movie has at least a commentary or two. And then there's some interviews on some of these as well. Let's see. I'm just scrolling down quickly just to do a quick breezy. Yeah, they're mostly just commentaries on each movie. Pretty much. There's a couple of interviews here and there on a couple of movies, but not a lot. Until you get to the disc 10, which is a bonus disc. This I will read off. Brand new essay on Ho Meng Hua, written and narrated by Grady Hendrix. Hong Kong, the Show of Mr. Shaw, a 1972 French TV profile of Shaw Brothers. Newly filmed appreciation of Super Inframan by Leon Hunt, Luke White, and Kim Newman. Newly filmed appreciation of Bat Without Wings by Wayne Wong. Newly filmed appreciation of Demon of the Loop by Luke White. Newly filmed appreciation of Battle Wizard and Demon of the Loop by Victor Fan, and then theatrical trailers from most of the films in the set, some never seen on video before. So, like I said, so it looks like it's 16 movies on 9 discs then, because the 10th disc is just special features. So that is Shawscope Volume 4, which is a bright, lovely purple color. I really love the way these sets are. You know, the first one was blue, the second one was orange, the third one was green, and now the fourth one is purple. A lovely, lovely rainbow of colors, if you will. So that is pretty much it for Chasing Labels episode number 174, spy number 174. For those of you who have stuck around this long, thank you. For those of you who are going to watch in the future, thank you as well. For those of you who are just going to listen on the audio, we do have an audio version of the podcast here. It's available everywhere audio podcasts can be found. Apple Podcasts, Google, Spotify. There's also a podcast or just audio version here on YouTube as well. If you want to watch, the video portion of this as well, go right ahead too. That's in the live tab on our YouTube channel. Also, for stuff that we've been doing recently, we just did another Movies Down Memory Lane this past weekend where we talked about Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory. We will be doing another one in 2 weeks where we will be talking about the movie Almost Famous, the Cameron Crowe film. Tomorrow, we will be doing a live stream of The Unwatched Pile. So that is coming up. We also just did a review of several of the releases from Criterion from the month of September. Like This Is Spinal Tap, Flow, Wes Anderson's Isle of Dogs, The French Dispatch. So stuff like that is available here on the channel as well. Check out that. Also, we have our merch store as well over at Etsy. Look for B-roll bandits. Look for Chasing Labels. There should be a link in this video. I hope there's a link in this video. I probably should go back and check if there was even a link on the previous Chasing Labels episode video, but I'm lazy in that regard. But we do have Chasing Labels merch, t-shirts, mugs, hoodies, tote bag, some other movie related items as well and designs. Check out that if you are so interested. all the support is, of course, welcome in every aspect. So, thank you all for watching. Thank you all for listening. Thank you all for being fans here at Chasing Labels. And hey, keep on watching those movies because I know I will.